Welcome everybody to the 47th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, brought to you by the Keshe Foundation. My name's Rick Crammond as host today, and once again we'll be talking with Mr. Mayran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation at the Spaceship Institute, and he'll be telling us wonderful things about the universe that we don't know about, or perhaps we know about but forgot about in some past that we can't quite remember straight, or something like that. In any case, we'll be revealing knowledge that I think is unique to planet Earth, and it's fascinating for me to participate in these workshops over the last, it's been a couple of years altogether here. So, without further ado, let's move into the workshop itself. I'll show a video here initially of some of the current work going on at the Spaceship Institute with some polycarbonate reactors for GANs. And that's in a special configuration that's able to be changed and whatnot. And we have some other things going on as well, with special covers for the arrangements and whatnot. So we'll let Mr. Keshe explain what he would like to start out with today, and we'll progress as we go. Mr. Keshe, are you ready there?
Yes, good morning, good day to you all. I hope it'll be a nice day for all of us, the ones who how it started and how we're going to finish the day. But in general, it should be a what you call a knowledgeable day. One of the most important things which at the moment I think we got to focus on and see the results is what is set with the new setup and the reactors with Armin and Marco in the Desensano, because now the Keshe Foundation core team, what you call it, the SSI, is in different locations in 3 or 4 different parts of the world. Marco and Armin are in the Desensano, in the laboratory. Dr. Elia is in Bulgaria, and we are in south of Italy organizing different things. So I think it'll be nice if we can go directly to Armin and Marco and see what they have achieved and the videos you have, and then we can elaborate on that and go ahead. Armin is already online, and I know Marco is in the background. Let them show the video and explain, and then we add to the knowledge. Are you there, Armin?
Hello, Armin. Are you willing to be able to speak? Not hearing you, Armin, if you got your microphone on there.
Okay, if you want to go backwards with the video, then
Yes.
I'll explain it. Arman, go ahead. Okay, I stand by.
Actually, what you want to explain, the process or?
Well,
what I see on the video.
Oh, okay. Me and Marco set it up. This setup. We nano-coated the bottom plate with the tin copper sheets, and the dome that you can see here is totally nano-coated. Perfect. And it goes on top of the plate. We have configuration 6 reactors, 3 small reactors in and 3 big reactors out. So actually it's well, you can see on a live stream that it's already functioning. But the top motor, it stopped, Mr. Keshe. Hello?
Have you restarted it, or is it still, you have to open it up?
I think Marco restarted it. Marco, are you there?
Hello. you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello?
Can you explain to
Yeah,
us?
the top motor was stopped on Tuesday. And
And
then after a while, I switched it on again, and then it started. But power was very low. But anyway, it was heating. It's very strange. The motor is outside of the chamber. Only the top motor is outside of the chamber. So it's completely out, and it was very strange that it was heating. Looks like that there is some pressure on this motor. So after the motor was stopped, I switched it on again, and it started. So at the moment, yesterday we were not at the center. We don't know exactly what the position now. And what we observed also that the power of the big motors, the black motors, increased by 100%. So there is some kind of pressure on these motors.
what do you mean by increasing 100%?
Current increased from 0.44 amp to 0.88 amp or 89.
Has the voltage stayed the same?
Voltage is the same.
Okay, what this means is that the field pressure is too strong. The core, what you call the free plasma, is creating a lot of plasmatic magnetic field pressure, which it is putting pressure on all the what you call the black motors. This is why your top motor is the principal motor is heating up too. So you got two choices I think we can try, and one is to switch off the small cores and let the top cores interact, and then see if the pressure, the current should drop. If that happens, then we can bring in the small cores on later on. We cannot switch off the small cores. One of the reasons that you see the heating on the top core is because of, as we saw when we put it together, the top core is too close to the other three. So in fact, your free plasma is more or less sitting next to the top core and pressurizing it. If you take the pressure off with the center cores, the three small ones, I think you will see should be a drop. Have you seen any observation of any light through the window?
Mr. Keshe, we were...
Pardon?
Go ahead, Marco.
Yeah, there was, well, a few times I look at it, but there was no light.
I think you better close the window. You close the window in the lab, the side window, and switch the light off. And just before you switch the motors off, the three central one, and see if you got to work in total darkness to see if you see any light coming through the window. It's a soft. It's a very. It's a velvetish color. It's a color you're not used to seeing in nature, but it's a plasmatic color. It's bluish, reddish, greenish, and you should see it through the window. You should be able to light up or be able to see some interaction, and then when you switch off the small cores, you should see a flash. If you see a flash, it means the inner core has collapsed and allows the outer cores, the bigger motors, to come into operation. And then you should hopefully see a drop in your what do you call it, in your currents. You hear it through the noise of the motors. But
Yeah, sound is, you know, sometimes, you know, the motor sounds so different. Me and Marco was listening it, and I said it's totally different sound. Like it's going and coming, it's going up and going low. I don't know. It's strange.
we've seen this with other motor setups. When the motor speed changes, speed doesn't change, but the power changes. The point, you have a window and you have access to the rotation reading. Try to read the rotation of the two cores, see if it's changed. One of the problems you're gonna face is because of the containment and nano coating, you have created the internal, what we call plasmatic vortex. And this vortex is upside down. And the pressure point of it sits in the top motor. So you got to see through the window. If you switch the lights off and observe the light, it's a very instant flashing light. You will see it when you switch the center motor off, because the center core will collapse. The two fields interact, and you see it. It always happens. I've seen this before. So, but you got to look. It's a color you're not used to. It's the first time you see it, and you got to get used to understanding these colors. The colors you see indicates if you're on gravitational or you're on magnetical direction. But that has to you learn by experience with it. One of the things which you will notice if you go on the live stream, we have put the box, the unit on a black box. The reason for it is to allow the fields to come in through the bottom up, whatever they come in at the rate of the fields which we need. The top end, the copper film is coated on both sides, and we think the same thing is with the bottom plate. So the fields which come through are monoplasmatic strength plus, which means they are above whatever we receive to add is above the copper oxide plasmatic magnetic field, which is very strong. This is a live presentation, you see it. The box is set up exactly to be there on a bottom channel of field flow, and now we have to wait to see how far the plasmatic magnetic fields of the other reactors which are sitting there are going to affect the position. Anything else you can tell us, Marco Arman?
No, actually, there is, you know, and I'm waiting to nano coat be done, the other unit, so I can assemble it, Mr. Keshe.
Do you want to explain what you're doing in the other unit?
Yes, 1 minute. Rick, can you post the pictures, please?
Can you stop 1 second, Arman? Let me explain something here. I just see in the picture Marco putting a frame up. Marco, do you want to explain what that frame is, which you're putting up? What's the purpose of it?
Yes, this is like a stand for two magnetic field detectors. I put two of them together that they are looking, tips are looking towards each other. In this frame, you can adjust height. So you can put detectors to different heights. And with this, we will try to measure magnetic and gravitational field. So the Z of each detector is one is looking outside, one is looking into the center towards the free plasma. So we are able to measure magnetic and gravitational field. That's the main idea of this setup. I don't know if I understood it correctly, this because we talked on the phone last time, and that's how I understand to put it. So.
Let me add to the knowledge slightly here. You see the two sensors, one sensor which was behind the hanging unit, and one sensor was kept in the big box in the old lab with a star formation in the magnetic field balance box. What Marco has done has brought the two sensors put on a frame where the z-axis of each sensor is looking in the opposite direction, which means in one way it detects what fields are coming into the one core, and the other sensor detects what's going out. So in so many ways we measure magnetical and gravitational at the same time, at the same point. The x-axes are both, and the z and the y-axis are the same. So the only thing which can change or differ is the magnetical and gravitational field at that point. It's been put between the two cores, then we'll see which core is receiving how much and which one is sending how much. In a way, we measure gravitational magnetic field of the two system reactors sitting next to each other. In the coming time, well, at the moment, I know Sohail is working on a system as a gravitational magnetic field measurement with the sensors, which should be much easier. And here we have initiated the production of plasmatic sensors. These will be done in the coming weeks in conjunction with the university here. What it means, if we subtract the flow of one and in the direction of the other one, this should give us the balance field at that point, which shows if the field created by each core is stronger in magnetical or gravitational, and then this indicates to us if we are increasing or reducing the what you call the Coulomb's barrier, or what you call the atmosphere around the system. The setup will be done a slightly different way in the next few days, where we can place this literally inside each reactor. There is a slight problem with the way it's set now. One core is much higher than the other, the two are not balanced, so the angle is slightly different. But in time we'll perfect the system that we can measure the full balance between the two fields from each system. This is how we will, this is more or less the basis of the, what we call GPS in the space. We measure the point of reference, so in a way, once we develop these systems completely, then, for example, we create the magnetic gravitational field at the point of the interface of these two detectors. And then we replicate that in the free plasma, and our reactors will fly towards that point, will move towards that point. And this is the space measurements, plasmatic magnetic fields. But the problem with the system which we have now, as you see it, is that the field measurement is not correct, but in a way, with what we have to live. to live with. That is, the fields we measure and the measurements we see even on the monitor. These are plasmatic magnetic fields which released by the reactors in the room when they have reduced in strength to become at the level of the vibration of electrons in a strength. So the digital numbers we see on the monitor is not electric current, it's a plasmatic magnetic field which have reduced enough to manifest itself as a level of electrons. So we see that as a measurement. Because this is how this equipment is set. We don't have a plasmatic magnetic field measurement system. All the systems are set at the electron field flow because they are all electronic systems. In a coming time, we will develop systems which measures only what we call plasmatic magnetic field gravitational point. So this is the reason for this frame in the center. It'll take us some time to perfect it. There are parameters which we have to remove from this frame, like the wires are hanging down on either side, so you're already affected by the wire flow. The wires have to come in from the top, that the field below and in center does not get affected, that we are measuring. The other point is, for example, the level of the detector is too high, has to be at the free level plasma, which will be much lower. Then we have to change a lot of parameters in the whole structure in respect to once we bring the other core into operation, which Arman is building up, hopefully beyond today, then we should see a slightly different reading. There is a concern regarding the reading of the meter. We have to recheck, reset, and we will see what will be achieved. The whole parameter will be, in a way, this is very much realistic condition as you see it. One, all the stars are not in line with each other, all the planets are not in line with each other. So you see the units on the floor with this free plasma much lower than the other one, and most probably when Arman puts this second SSI2, we call it, on the floor, that will be in different position, free plasma. So we have to see what is setting and what is reading will be. The measurements on the monitor has to be reset and started again and see where we're gonna go. Arman, carry on with your setup as you were explaining. Sorry.
Rick, can you post the pictures, please, if you can? Hello, Rick.
Hi, Armin. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Now the pictures are the. Which ones did you want? The latest ones with the
Yes.
protein layer or the GANS reactor movies?
No, just
the protein layer.
No. A nano coating that I showed in dome and a bottom plate.
Right. Okay. Okay, I'll have to get them from the. Well, I can show it in the movie here, I guess, or else I'll get it from the Skype call here as I watch as we see that in the movie. Second here.
No, not this one. The other dome. I sent it to you yesterday.
Right, so now I have to find it here, Armin. Just hang on a sec.
Okay. You want me to post it? Send you again?
Yeah, the three. Not sure where they were. Were they in
I
the?
sent you an email.
Oh, an email, right? Okay. Okay, bear with me as I scroll through a few hundred emails here. Just a second.
Armin, do you want to explain the process till we get the
Yes.
dome? Please.
The dome is made from copper, and bottom plate is copper. So what we did, actually, if Rick shows the bottom plate, we just cut it in the middle, and other piece of little bit, it's a cup, actually, which I put it under it, so I can elevate the fields. You're going to see that there are three set up holes for motors, which I'm going to put around the reactors. And I hope that today it's going to be, totally nano-coated, that I close it down and put it in function. But the process to nano-coat the dome, it takes time, actually, because it's a big piece, and when you want to do vapor nano-coating or vapor caustic, it takes time, actually, to nano-coat. So we tried with Marco different ways to try to achieve this. So finally, actually, we achieved it.
Okay, that must be it there. Okay, there we are. Okay, I've got, just get the pictures up here. And there we go.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, here's the first one. And
you see in the middle, this part, it's few, actually about 1 inch, inch and a half is upper from the plate, that you can elevate the fields. See, the closer there are there are three holes that you can see we're going to mount the motors.
okay, I'm just
you can show the dome now.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the email. Lost the email. You see, I've got 300 or 400 emails here to deal with, so I'm just trying to. Don't send any more right now. I've just got it here. Just gotta find it. Just a second. I don't think.
We try to get a homogeneous coating, actually.
Let me explain why you see that center piece in the middle. You see a top view when you look at the side view of the plate. What you see in the center, like a copper ring, and then another piece in the middle of it. This middle piece is like a dome, which is supposed to reflect the fields which coming from the 3 base cores upwards into the center of the free plasma. And that's the purpose of it. So the fields will be concentrated in the center. In a way, we have positioned and fixed the position of the gravitational magnetic field free plasma. There is a possibility that the field might touch the dome, and if it does, we should see some kind of heating on it. We have to test it continuously for temperature. As Armin said, you see 3 holes, 3 sets of 3 holes. This is where the reactor is going to sit, and the fields directly goes up into the center core. We more or less have made a purposely directional flow for the fields. Now you can explain, Armin, this core.
Okay, this is the dome, and you can see there is a small window that we did, and it's covered with the plastic. Actually, it's nano-coated too. So the whole part is nano-coated, even the plastic. And you can see in the middle there are it's a holes for mount the 4th reactor. And when it's finished, we're just gonna assemble it together. Any questions I can answer?
Okay, and inside it'll be a normal atmosphere or whatever. You're not going to try
Yes.
to like seal the unit or anything like
No,
that.
it's gonna be vacuumed. We can
Okay.
try it. It's possible
It might be possible.
to even, you know,
Maybe a slight vacuum or something
slight vacuum.
could be interesting.
The problem with vacuuming such a system is that the heat flow in the motors will be so high that the motors will stop working.
Right.
So, as we've seen it with the other reactors, especially like the uranium reactor with the gas plasmatic condition, we put a water cooling system around the motor. Then we have to build up a cooling system for these motors, and it becomes very elaborate. But at this moment we try to keep it as it is for the system to create its own environment and see if we can carry on. Carry on, Armin.
Is there something
Say,
else you?
there are any questions that I can answer about nano-coating or about closing it down? Oh, this we have.
Hi, Armin. I think it'd be really good for you to go over what process you determined would be the best that you did use for the top dome to steam the copper plates. Could you go over that for me, please? I'm sure a lot of people are interested.
Yes, actually, you know, it's a vapor bath that we are giving this dome maybe 3-4 times because it's a big mass, so it needs to be heated properly. So we tried different ways, you know, to pull hot water on top of the dome that it be heated before, then we put it in a caustic bath. Big pieces are a little bit difficult. You don't want to nano-coat, you know, the outer part. You're just going to nano-coat inner part. So it gives you a little bit difficulty how to position the dome that the outer part is not going to be nano-coated. So,
And they're nano-coated on both sides, the
no,
sheets?
nano-coated only inside, not outside. We don't want to interfere from outside field coming in. So if we nano-coat outside, I think it's going to be totally different.
Right, because it can go through the copper and find the weakest link in the nano coating to try to get back in to the fields to rejoin. Something like that?
Yes. And actually, when there is a nano-coated part on the upper dome, actually, we're gonna just grind it out. And please wear masks, because I was doing it without noticing it. And I was grinding a nano-coating material, and Mr. Keshe just walked in and told me that I cannot do that because I was breathing that dust. So anyway, wear masks if you need to do this, and gloves that protect yourself.
And I think Ludmil also had an experience lately.
Just going to mention that,
with his caustic. Yeah, he had a bucket malfunction, let's call it, and he didn't have time to get the gloves before the water was spilling everywhere. So he had to pick up the bucket with the caustic solution. So just be aware, people, that caustic does need the proper safety precautions.
Yes.
He said that he felt a tingling in his fingers from the exposure, in spite of washing off the water or washing off the caustic with water, and also even to the tips of his toes. He felt the tips of his fingers and his toes. I thought that was unusual. I could see the tips of the fingers. That makes logical sense. The tips of the toes, and then we were talking about it must be the extremities of the nervous system. Maybe Mr. Keshe, you could comment something about that. Why would the effects of the caustic be felt in the tips of the toes as well as the fingers?
The thing is, did he have anything inside? Did he have any material in the caustic?
That's a good question.
Yes, he was probably coating some plastic.
Right.
No, because some people, what they do, they put water on the caustic and then they put the material in.
Like
we do it.
aluminum, for example, is often put in tin foil, aluminum foil. That could end up with causing some nerve
What
problems.
happens, you receive, let me explain to you, this is what we say, a lot of caution is needed in respect to nanomaterials and gas materials. And that's why I said nobody touches it, drink it or eat it or whatever.
And even the caustic itself is, well, it's caustic.
Yeah.
It's lye. It's
Yeah.
it's corrosive. That's what it's for.
Yeah, but the thing is, if the material has been in caustic, or let's say he had already the copper or whatever, you'll find out because it's in a what we call energetic condition, you absorb the energy of the plasma. This is exactly what Arman was talking about. As I walked in and he was literally dusting, grinding up a layer to be able to put that copper ring in. These materials, I just happened to breathe it in, and for about an hour or two, I could feel the energy released in my lungs, in my in my stomach. And I kept on telling to Arman, you shouldn't have done that, because you literally feel the energy being released inside you. Nanomaterial dust is in a way a gans state dust. It's like eating meat. So energy release is huge, and that's why we say you have to be careful. And these things till it's done and we understand fully what you are doing. The same is if you had the material in the caustic, you not only receive the what we call, it's like it feels like having a jelly on your skin constantly for a while. In that gel, in that water, there are plasmatic magnetic field of the gas which comes off instantaneously. You see it as a residue at the bottom of your caustic, as we were saying. Armin has about a few drums of it in his house. These, these just don't happen to go down; they're floating. And so, if the plate has been there, this what gases are floating in the container come in touch and they release the energy directly into your body. There is a need for understanding these things, and that's why we say always wear glove, always be aware of what is happening. And very much I've seen somebody else putting up that they see heating in the motors. Most probably the heating of the motor in the reactor in SSI-1 is that nanomaterials are touching the motor somewhere, and energy which is released through the fields of the system in touching the nano coating of the dome pressurizes enough to go into the copper layer, and the copper transfers the current flow of the plasmatic flow between the nano layer and the copper itself into the motor, and its heating. Motor has become a heater to dispose of the energy which is in the layer. So I think Mark and Armin have to open the core and make sure there is no physical connection between the what do you call it, the lining in SSI-1 and the motor, that no heat transfer is done. That partially could be it, because I've seen this. In fact, what you have created a heating element. If that's the case, then the plasma finds a field flow through the nano layer, nano coating. So I think you have to open the reactor today and have a look that there is no physical contact between the nano layer and the motor in any shape or form, even through the screws or through the common shaft. The other point is that in a coming week, one of the first spin-offs of the new institute and the university will be the testing of the nanomaterial on health, on plants, on everything else, because we've seen different people are using it as a spray. We know people who have used it to touch and they want to use it like energy cream, because if you touch GANS material or nano state of matter material, you transfer the energies immediately to your body because they're of the same field. It's not a matter which passes through your skin, it's the field of the GANS which passes your skin, and the energy transfer is instantaneous. So you got to be careful with these things, and we start the measurements, we start the technology of the measurements, and we see what results and everything else which comes on a plasmatic magnetic field level. And this is very important. This is absolutely crucial. One of the things which I would like to speak about the dome as you see it. The dome is not totally black. As you see it, on the edges are black and inside is bluish, and then further inside is whitish and some copper color. What has happened because of multiple coating system which has been used by Arman, and we tried to coat this all together in one go, it didn't happen. We had to go through different stages, and you see a stage where it got black on the fringes on the top end, and then as we have nano coated, the coating and the water has forced the nano layers to force the copper to come through the nano layers, and as they come out, they have become CO2 GANs. In a way, it's when you see a structure like this, is GANs in a way attached to nano layer. The upper layers you see, it's very much like the green plates you've seen with the CO2, with the copper oxide, with CO2 units. The copper oxide, which you see as green, is already has become a GaNs. But because of its gravitational magnetic field and the intervention or intermediary layer of a nano layer, that copper has already is ready to become a GaNs state, but it's between attached to the matter and a free space. So what you see here, to understand the explanation of, you see a what I call rainbow of colors. The rainbow of colors we see in this dome is created by the layering. And even what you see as a white in the bottom, this is a CO2 layer in half state between the attached to the matter and being a GaNs at the same time. It has not freed itself. If you put this in a plain water, salt water, you will see all the green stuff will come up and all the white stuff, and you have the CO2 as a GaNs in the bottom and a copper oxide in the bottom. This is to understand the process. It's how you get to this position. If you nano coat it in one layer and don't put it back in, you get a totally black. But if the condition in your container changes, or you multiple coat it, or in a way that you create a, you put the material in a caustic, and the caustic has elements which becomes salt, what we call like a sea salt, in a condition of what we saw happen with the place which we sent out from the Keshe Foundation for CO2 units. You had a green layer on it. What happened is that the caustic created a nano layer, which is the black one, and then as the caustic cooled down in certain temperature level, because the caustic was added chlor into it, now the effect of NaCl came into operation as a salt. And then when you have an NaCl and you create a different condition of gravitational magnetic field, immediately the nano layers are converted into the GaNs state. But because of the gravitational magnetic field of the Cl in the caustic, which the chlor is added, these GaNs cannot separate. They still have gravitational magnetic field connection to the nano layer, which keeps them at that level. So what you see copper, you see a nano layer. If you do a cross section on this, across the plate, in the section, you'll see a copper, you will see nano layer, and then you will see GaNs in an attached condition as a physical matter condition connected. The greenish and the whitish, these are all CO or CO2 connected to the plate or to the dome through gravitational magnetic field, not through chemical attraction. So you see these things. So this is what I said, we got to add to the knowledge. Now you've done it with separate things. You see different layers, different colors. Now you have to understand the process, how it happens. In these processes, when you take a long time, what happened? The caustic which we received, we never had this caustic before, and the caustic was tested in the lab with the knowledge seekers before, and then suddenly somewhere in one point somebody added chlor to the caustic to destroy it or create a false result. But with it, they actually showed us a new method of creating GaNs without going through the salt. But now you see the physical. That's why if you receive the green copper plates from the Keshe Foundation in the first CO2 kits, you have both copper oxide in nano state, which is the black, and you have copper oxide in the GaNs state connected through electromagnetic field, gravitational magnetic field between the layers. So in the time to come, you can use this understanding to create plasmatic current flow. This maybe, as I said, we add to knowledge as you come to it. This gives a very good present to the what are called Silicon Valley people. Creation of transistors, creation of resistors, creation of capacitors using nanolayer coating. Now you've seen how it's done. This is what we call, we don't patent things, but this is in a way written in one of the nano-technology patents which we put in. So now with this, what Arman has shown, you understand in a way, you have the blue, the black, the white, the slightly yellow. So all these are in fact different matter at the outside, a nano layer, a GaNs layer, and then outside on top of the GaNs layer, because if you look deep, you see black, blue, and the white on the top. That is a CO2 conversion, because somewhere in the reprocessing, there's been a time to change the plasma. So this is very, very much addition to the knowledge. This is the breakthrough for the electronic people who are looking for superconductor layers. These are superconductor layers. If you can create different coating in the condition of adding different matters, you'll find out you create different GaNs of states of matter. This is how what you call it, life is created in different part of the universe. You produce different gases. You produce different connection between the gases, but you keep a back material to keep the connection. If you have a copper, you still get a nano coating, and then you get a copper. And then if you change the back coating to something else and the environment inside different, now you can cut physically between the among the layers on a horizontal level. Now you have different capacitors, resistors as a superconductor level. In a simple way, Arman has shown you a new breakthrough in the world of electronics. Or we don't call it electronics, in the world of plasma physics transfer. Because this is how we measure the new measurements, using these layers, not using matter state of plasma. Using current flow between layers. Pardon?
Excuse me, it very much looks like a collector of some sort, like a solar collector or a focusing apparatus. I wonder what the voltage measurements would be to take from the edge and from the center, just as it is there. It just seems very potent with that. What's the word? Gradient, the word that Marco likes to use there. It's quite a gradient of materials. Or of GaNs, rather.
What you get with the present systems we have is the measurement at the electron vibration in the copper. We do not have the facilities and the means at this moment to measure the plasmatic flow between layers. This is what is going to be done here with the work.
There was
Mr. Keshe, we can't measure it, but can we calculate it?
You can calculate it. It's very easy to calculate because you work on the gravitational magnetic field of the mass of the CO2 and copper oxide.
And you showed us that in the last workshop, actually, how to do some of that calculating. I'm wondering if you might want to show some of that again today.
Expound on that. Yes, please.
Let us get these equipments, because at the moment it's like what I call a fairy tale, because you don't have it to measure it. Caroline showed me something yesterday which was posted by Gert in Belgium on his Facebook in respect to his oscilloscope measurement of the field.
Right.
This we can do, what do you call it, in so many ways see it, but all we will see is the electromagnetic field vibration in the copper, not the plasmatic flow in the between the layers. We need new tools for measurement of the flow of plasma, magnetic gravitational field, not vibration.
Okay, here's one question that would enter into that. Emmanuel's been asking, I think it goes something like, does GANs sing? Is there a sound that might?
Of course.
Okay,
Of
then
course.
how can we hear the GANs? How can we hear
Let us,
this image that we see here, and rather than seeing it, is there a way that we can hear it, that we can
yeah,
understand the level that it's at?
the whole thing is, um, let me explain it to you in a different way. We used to have the tool to measure the measurement with inches and hand and foot, yeah. And then we had a measurement with rulers and the wood, and then we had a measurement now with a laser and electronics. As we developed, we made tools for measuring the same thing or near enough the strength of what we see. Now it's our priority. I was discussing it yesterday here in Italy with the people who understood, and they already have a system on the way to measure it. They've ordered from China. We will show and commercialize systems which can measure gravitational magnetic field. And then you can measure all these things. You cannot measure something in another dimension because it's totally irrelevant, but that's the only tools we have to measure at the moment. These gravitational magnetic field measurement systems, as I said in the medical part, they become part of like measuring the sickness in the body of the man. Now we measure the temperature, we measure the pressure, what we call a blood pressure. With the new tools, we measure gravitational magnetic field strength, and we understand what is wrong and where it's changed. These are the tools. We need time to do it,
Okay,
but
but
yes. Let me, can I carry on?
Sorry,
something?
I just have a question about that though.
Yes, carry on.
Because I completely understand that we need the tools. We have to have the tools, and we have to have them according to something that will show us what is. For example, okay, just for example, to measure the temperature, we needed to know, or we had calculations to say the temperature is going to be this amount with this much power going through it, et cetera, and then we can prove that by making tools that can show us what our calculations are. And I'm sure you know where I'm going to go with this. So to make the tools for us independently to be able to see where we can go ourselves, we need something to be able to tell us how what we're expecting to see or what we expect to be able to have as an outcome, and then make tools that can show that. And I understand the problem now is the fact that everybody thinks about the electronics end of things, and it's not an electronic end of things that we have to deal with.
Let me explain it for people.
Go ahead, sorry.
That the things which you might be able to do temporarily for a time being. Try to, one of the ways you can do it, I've done this before and it works, but you have to understand you're much cleverer than me in so many ways of you doing these things. Try to nano coat one side of a, let's say, copper plate, and try to nano coat one side of, let's say, nickel plate, and try to put them exactly in the same position around the plasma. Measure the current difference between the two on the material side. Or use different kind of mixture of lining of material like copper and zinc, and nano coat them and measure the current in the material side. This should give you a rough indication of the power, the difference, what is coming and what is received. Understanding that your nano coated is adding to the flow because it's magnetic gravitational, so it's putting something inside as well. So this temporarily should give you a measuring tool, that you can measure. The magnetic gravitational field flow can be measured that way. This is what we are trying to do here. Maybe the scientists around the world and the people who develop these things, we need to produce a system which as way of attraction, let's say like a radar as it is to receive the information, is in GANs state. And then you connect your GANs through nano-coated wires, not through wires. Which means at the moment you have electrodes and you put on the body, or you have electrodes which you connect to different point of current flow. You have to nano-coat that there is no matter contact with the plasma, and you transfer this information instantaneously to a reading measurement electronics. This way, whatever comes into the GANs sphere you have created, as a plasmatic gravitational field, you measure. This is the tool you have to make. This is what we are making here. And as I said, the understanding of the control of the plasma has totally been a plasmatic condition. It cannot be, as I always call it, in a schizophrenic condition between the plasma, plasmatic, magnetic, gravitational, and the matter. To make a system which is totally plasmatic condition, you need to create an environment which holds a GANs, pure GANs of one material, or maybe two, like a water and carbon dioxide or whatever. And then your electrodes which you put in, it's very much like what Marco is showing on the frame he's put up, has to be made of fully nano-coated homogeneous layer into your measuring tool instrument. Which this means then you have to create a plasmatic magnetic field reader, which then you have to convert it back into digital. It's very simple. It shouldn't cost more than 10 cents to make one, but to get it correct is very important. This is the tool you can start making yourself to measure gravitational magnetic field, because when even the water in the CO2 in your confinement is in the magnetic gravitational field state, then because you have nano-coated the cylinder totally, your confinement, and you have put a connection in a nano layer coating, every information is transferred as a plasmatic superconductor. And then you get a correct reading. These are the new tools of measurement. As I keep on saying, we don't put patents in, but we teach you how to do it. And because it's a public knowledge, you cannot patent it. So it's been taught directly. I said there is nothing, has to be the interface between matter and the GANs. Now you have to realize, working in one. We are human beings, we live in a matter state, which is partially matter and partially GANs, and because of our lack of understanding, we have never separated the two. We think everything is the same. Now we understand, we have to separate. We have to understand the separation. This is what I was explaining to somebody. Now we come back to the time of Moses. We don't eat from the same cup where we cook a meat, and we don't eat in the same cup where we put milk. Now you understand the separation between the two. You cannot use a system which is for matter state in a, what do you call it, plasma state, in a GANs state. We need separate tools. But we have got so much used to one, because we've never been aware of the other, that this has caused us, and this has brought us to this point. Now is as we are maturing in the world of creation and knowledge, we have to start looking at the separation tools, or make advantage between the GANs and the matter in what we want to benefit by it. In a very short time, in the next few years, all the televisions we see is useless. Because electronics to put plug in, you don't need all these facilities. As I explained, if you can create a free plasma condition, you can see a three-dimensional full picture of the entity you can create inside. In teletransportation, what you call it, to transfer one to another, or from one point to another, you don't take every single plasma of every single cell. You create a condition of an envelope, you transfer the envelope. Whatever is in the envelope gets transferred. So what is mean in what we call it, this fantasy dream of teletransportation, that they take pieces of you and they assemble you, this is all fantasy. Now that you've seen that bubble in the center of your core, that's your new package, that's your new postage system. Whatever you put in that, and you can make it to be at the condition of gravitational magnetic field, you transfer the envelope. It's very much like you take an envelope. It doesn't matter if you put money in it, you put letters in it, you put films in it. The envelope carries the matter to destination, and when you open it, you receive it the same. It doesn't change its entity from money to metal and from a film to a paper in the way. This is the extension of knowledge. You don't, this fantasy of teletransportation, you take pieces, this is all what man could understand. Now you understand how you do it. You've seen the bubble. Now you use that bubble in your reactors. You use the free plasma, you put the package in it, be it the love letter, be it $1 million, or be it the car, and then through the system you've seen on which Marco and Norman made with the 6 reactors on the base, you direct the direction of the transfer of this envelope to the destination point at the gravitational magnetic field. It's got to manifest itself. And when it reaches that point, because you created the envelope to be released, at that point you receive the totality. Man with his soul at the same time. It's very much like us as a human being on this planet. This planet is traveling all over the solar system. It's done for billions of years. None of us have left one of us behind a million miles away a few days ago. Because the envelope, the Earth gravitational magnetic field is made is an envelope. Whatever happens in this envelope is the letter, which is in the post. We say we meet such a meteorite or such a asteroid or whatever in such a destination point which is near to us and is going to hit us. It's what is in the envelope, it's just ripping it open and you see what's inside. It's a meteorite which hits the Earth and opens the envelope. Whatever is in it cannot be held, it opens up and it goes into space. These are the new dimensions in the science which what has been fantasized now is a reality. It's just need to develop it, but you have to understand the whole package. There has been a lot of talk, and I've been laughing at it for years, is that they say, oh, when we transport you, what happens if our foot stays behind? Or what happens if part of the cell of our, a finger doesn't come? Yes, if the envelope opens up and part of you leaks out, yes, it will be there. You might lose part of the foot, but the rest is it. But if you keep a gravitational magnetic field envelope, it's like Earth. Doesn't matter where you are in the solar system, you're still intact because you created that package. Then you have to calculate how much field on the way is lost, what is gained, what is the passage, and then it's very much like if the package goes on a plane, it goes on a boat, it goes through submarine, it goes through whatever, it gets to the other side. The environment is independent and is relevant. It's the package which you made to put it in. These are what we said we add to the knowledge step by step. These are the packages of communication, because you put a message in a coded way which cannot be touched. You don't send like Morse beep, 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 beep. You put the full package, you make an envelope, you send it. When it gets there, comes out a full message. Be it a word, be it a picture, be it documents, be it a human being, being a dog or a cat. The entity will not change. This, what I call beam me up Scotty, will come into reality in a real sense, not in fractions as you see pictures coming in. You receive an envelope, you have a system which creates the same condition of envelope, you open it up, you receive what's the gift inside it. The conditions are created by misunderstanding the difference between the sorry about this, we are in an apartment in different locations, so our mascot is with us. So you create the conditions, you understand what you create, you add into what you create, and you take away into what you create. And with this, you allow the life to keep its entity. So the soul stays with a being. Does not matter where it is. I've seen people making comments. We like to hear about the science, but please do not go into ethics and belief. How can you transfer a man who believes in Christ to the other side of the world with another entity and tell them, sorry, I don't know where I am, what I believe in? Because what you believe is not there. There are no churches, there are no Christians in this space. So you got to understand new means of communication, new means of material separation, new means of interaction and communication. There was a comment today on one of the on the forum asking about the soul. The souls hear and see each other because they have a common denominator, gravitational magnetic field, which is access to them. It's like the whistle of the dog, as I say. We don't hear it, but the dog does. Those who hear the souls have purified enough to be able to become low enough, to become humble enough in the level of physicality that they can hear the voice of the soul and the music of the soul. And that's the difference. So now, as I said in one of the links I put in today, that when you dream about your dog, you dream about your mother, because the interaction with the soul of the mother who most probably passed away years ago, because you have that common denominator interaction of the soul at human level on this planet. In time, when we come across, and in a very short time, when we interact with other entities in the universe, and we want to dream about them and they tell us what they need, or we want to access with them, we have to create and understand what is the common denominator in our souls that knows their telephone number. So we create. So this is what I said. When you understand the totality of the common, what I call number or communication line of the soul, you reach the state of the creator. This is trying to now in this stage to separate the matter from gas or plasmatic condition, and at the same time understand there is an interface between the two which we can use to the advantage of the man for different application of his physical need. You don't need to eat the matter. You can create a plasma of it of the same strength and consume it. This is why when they do Raman spectroscopy, they see the property of the CO2, but when they do chemical interaction, there is no CO2. And this has caused a lot of problems, especially for the Italian nuclear center when they did the test. It drove the scientists here crazy, and I had to explain to them. Because in Raman spectroscopy, we measure magnetic field strength, and it shows the property, magnetic field of CO2. But when we put in the matter, there is no interaction. This we cannot explain, because we have not understood the separation between matter and a gans, and an interaction in the world of matter where the gans manifests itself as an entity of tangibility. This this is the process that we have to make the tools. We have enough tools for the matter. Now we have to make tools for the GANs or the plasma, and then understand where they come, which field we want to use in respect to what. And then you understand the creation of energy and fields and all sorts becomes child's play. We are in a point of transition. We just started a transition. So in a very few short time, very much like the computer time, it was a huge thing to even add up. And now we see how miniature the computers come. And if the computer manufacturers, silicon chips manufacturers, understand the new dimension, the possibility and the use of the new systems, what we call not electronic but plasmatic systems, will bring a totally new dimension in the world of the creation of materials, communication and everything else. Do you need to get in the car to go to uncle's house, where you have a system, uncle has the same system. If he doesn't want you to be there, he doesn't allow you. But if he invites you for dinner, you go from here to New York in the same position, in a matter of instant. This is not fantasies, this is understanding the new envelope. We had the donkey, we used to take us, we made a cart, then we made a car, and then we made a jumbo jet. Now we have a new tool. But we have to understand how to use this tool, how to manufacture it, that it stays perfect. This is one of the things which made me really laugh in the past few months, is I feel sorry in a way. I gave my commiseration to the team, especially Richard Branson, when the test flight failed. And one of the most, I think, irrelevant thing Richard Branson did was to show that he cannot fail. He said him and his family will be the first one on the next flight. We don't need to do these sacrifices and such a, what do you call it, hollow gestures. We have to develop a technology which can support the transfer in a correct way. Not to sacrifice ourselves, to hurt ourselves or our family, just to prove that we are right and our ego can be stayed intact. We have developed, we understand what is to come. We have to develop systems which can facilitate the new technology, the new understanding. In fact, it's not a new technology, it's part of our own body. We are made of it, but we never understood it. It's not a new science, it's a science which we are created out of, but we never understood it ourselves. Now we do. Add to the knowledge, add to the science. But the way we have set it up, add it collectively and freely. I think a lot of people will be surprised with the opening of the new university and the institute and the medical side. A lot of people will not like what is to come. But we have no choice. It's the process of the development of the intellect of the man. They cannot stop the development any further. There are hundreds of thousands and millions of people around the world who are, following the process. And they are doing it themselves. It's done for the people, by the people, for the benefit of people. There are people who abuse it, but it doesn't mean that there is anything wrong with it. This morning I received a link. We have put the new CO2 kit at €10, plus postage and packing, which is another few euros, whatever, depends where you are, from China. And somebody sent me a link, says, have you seen this? They are put our unit for $55. Then, because they say it's Keshe Foundation GANs unit, then it gives us a bad name, or gives a different direction because they want to benefit themselves by it. We start seeing the abuses already in so many different ways. And this is one of them.
One of the
So
things, Mr. Keshe, is happening is the shipping from China is quite expensive at $30 to $35 for shipping, unless you get more than one unit, which reduces it down to $10 per unit for shipping. So
the
people pay 30, 35 for shipping, and then another 10 or 15 or 18 or something for the unit itself.
yeah, but these things will be sorted in a short while. It has to be sorted. You cannot do this.
Yeah, there
Now
must be
people
more
realize.
economical way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if Amazon can do it, so we can. It's just a negotiation. I know Sohail. I asked Sohail to look into it to sort it out. This is what we do. We always said, and people said, how come we pay 40 euro for the book and 25 euro for shipping? Now it's coming home. The what we call the situation is is opening up. Hopefully, we come to some sort of arrangement. But in reality, we should be able to support this once is fully up and running.
I think so. There's many things you can get from China now that actually they send with free shipping, even though it's only a $3 or $4 or $5 item. They actually send on eBay with free shipping. I don't know how they can possibly do that, but they must have some sort of special deal with the shippers. I don't understand. Maybe we can find out more about that.
It's something we have to look into. It's not we haven't been in that market, as you know. Our books, even is sold on the Keshe Foundation website, is subcontracted to what they call it, dispatch and a company to ship it. We never see anything because the company is in another country and they do the shipping, and some people complain that they haven't received their books or whatever, and then when we start investigating how come suddenly so many books are not going, then when we investigated it, we found a lot of problems sitting in the background through, as a lot of you know, certain governments. But the process is very simple. We have to find a shipping method that we cannot be interfered by governments. We have to find a shipping method that it can be as cheap as possible. Would it be a solution to, let's say, ship in one big batch to one location in one country and internally do it cheaply? This goes back to the Keshe Foundation and distribution in the country. These are all the possibilities which has to be handled by Sohail, because we can't handle everything in one go. This goes back to the Chinese Keshe Foundation team in China, and we have already considered this with Italy through the companies and things which are set up in Europe. There are different ways to do it. You cannot ship free, maybe 1 or 2 packages, but not when it's thousands of them. We have to see how it comes. We are waiting for Sohail to give us a green light that we can release the new package, the new system, pictures and videos of it or whatever he has done. But it has to become international collaboration, cooperation, because it is cheaper to manufacture at home than put the shipping cost into it. And does Sohail stand only for China? These are the things which it has to be sorted very, very rapidly, because you can manufacture these units locally cheaper than $55. When the novelty goes out of it and people understand what these things can do, we'll find out they will tail off, because now even with the Italian authorities and people we are working with, they're talking about the commercial units for capture of CO2. One of the first spin-offs will be announced in the coming weeks is there is 4 spin-offs will come straight away off the back of the university in the coming month or so. One is the water system, one is the what do you call it, ground system, one is the new health systems, and one is the new detection systems. So we need scientists to have any background knowledge in gravitational field, in water dissemination, in ground cleanup, to join the foundation. We already received a number of applications from different scientists from around the world, and I've noticed in past 48 hours we have again seen operation by what we call the rogue elements trying to pretend who they are, and our security system just picked them up immediately. that there are such a scientist, they want to collaborate, to come to Italy to see if they can work with us. The red lights immediately came out, who they are, what they are doing. So, but these are what it needs to be done. This is what is coming. And at the same time, next step, as you know, one of our what do you call it, scientists who work closely with the foundation is extremely well within the communication and computer systems, and they are looking into development of these new technologies. Now everything is getting centralized in south of Italy. Once we establish these things, then we allow different nations to produce their own things. And as I've seen, as I said before, Sohail is directing and telling people exactly what to do, how to do, and how it needs to be done to set up your own manufacturing in your countries. There is no patent, so nobody can.
Just a minute, Mr. Keshe.
Fast-moving area. Go ahead, Vince.
Yes.
It looks like Sohail's trying to get in. Maybe he can clarify some of that. Rick, can you please add him to the call? Because I thought I seen recently that the shipping was going to be not that expensive, or not at all, but I'm not sure. I'd like to hear it from somebody there. Rick?
If you call Sohail on his Skype, he rings on his mobile phone. You can always pick him up wherever he is. Can you reach him?
He was added to the call, so he just needs to join it if he's listening on live stream.
He's usually somewhere in the background. Because I see him making comments. I saw him this morning making a comment to somebody who claimed that the delivery has been delayed, and he says, "Who said that?"
Yes, that's what I seen there too. Like to know about that as well.
We carry on.
So,
if he's in, let us know, and then we can add him into it and let him explain, because we work this way. A very interesting point is that once we announce the opening of the institute within the university structure, we have revised a lot of things in past week while we've been here with what we call where we sit and how we sit. I think it's important for people to know there has been a discussion going on that we have to allow, as you know, we supported part of in all our work, the people could not afford, or people could afford different things in the process of our work, being free books, being free medical systems, be it other part of development. There's a discussion, and more or less we have agreed in that level with the institute and the university. If we add an addition to the university fee, that it can support the ones who cannot afford joining the university. With this process, we stop those who can just about to afford to pay to join the university. So we exclude some just because of financial means. The solution which we have come up with, which I think is correct way, as we work that way, we will announce a new figures and a setup of what we agree by Monday in the contracts, that everybody pays for their own education fee level. And then we put two factors on the application. Would you like to support another student? This is what it is. Or the foundation, from the income from the commercialization side, will finance education. We don't give grants, we don't give a scholarship. We support the teaching who want to be here, or we give free access through the university open channels, free teaching to those who would like to have access, but they cannot even afford paying for it. This allows us to open our teaching level and finance it in a cheaper way to the third world nations. Like in Africa, we connect directly into the universities. And one of the options we have now is that the Keshe Foundation Space Institute will become, built on the same basis around the world through the same central core, which is in Italy. So this is maybe good news for some who thought we can't afford it, or this just a little bit beyond what we can do. Now we allow you to be able to do that. Who's this one? Here we go. So this is part of the what we have. It was the right music at the right time. We can dance to it, to the news. But we'll see what comes up. There is in next 7-10 days we'll announce one after another new development and releases. Sohail is there. Sohail, good morning or good afternoon to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mr. Keshe.
Sohail, can you explain to us where we stand in respect to the development of the CO2, the health pads and other things, and the delivery schedule and the rest and the cost?
Yes, the CO2 kits are almost done. 2-3 more days left, and then we have to stock. I saw a lot of confusion on the internet regarding the price and the price. So I want to make it clear right now. The retail price is $13, and that's the end user price. And the shipping will be much cheaper, and I heard people announcing them. If somebody buys 1 unit directly from China, that will be around 20 to 25 $, but nobody, I guess, will do that. So what we do, we send it to distributors, and they will ship it directly to the clients much cheaper. Yes, $5 or so. So total that we stay was the total price plus shipping under 20 $.
And what is the position with the health pads, the pain pads? The same?
Yeah, the health pads also ready around the 3rd of February. We're just doing the packaging right now. The pricing for the health pads, we suggest a retail price of $39 yes, that's gonna be it. The shipping of the pets, I think, because of the volume, should be a little bit higher. But again, this product has more profit margin, so it will be easier to handle.
Let me explain what Sohail explains about profit margin. The anything which is done, shipped or sold through any of the Keshe Foundations, there is a percentage which is allocated back to the foundation, and that is used back again for production of the new materials and the units to be given, unconditionally to those who need it, not a free unit for those who just want to have a unit free. So whatever is the profit allocation to the foundation of the margin will go back into order of the new materials for the countries and the region where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's right. That's also a very important point to say. Half of the profits go directly back to the people who can't afford it. And I guess this is huge. Nobody's doing that. And let's see how it goes.
Is there anything else you can tell us regarding the energy unit you're working on? Do we see any development on the side?
Energy units, yes, we always getting better day by day somehow. But right now we need to sit down we contacted some big power for like mobile phones, power charger, and they're willing to miniaturize it and make it vacuum sealed and clean. so we then have a real product. But we still will need at least 2-3 months to come up with something which we can announce with a picture and with a name. So to make the perfect product, we still need like a bit of time for that.
What's the movement, or have you done any development on the detector units for the gravitational magnetic field?
This also we're putting together right now. We got the instruction from JF. Thanks to him. We bought all the parts. There was some changes, some details, and yes, I think in 2 weeks we will have something to experiment on and keep improve.
Anything, any questions anybody want to ask Sohail?
I was going to ask because Evans is from Haiti. Are you guys still planning on delivering to Haiti? The
Yeah,
kits?
definitely. Yes. Also, when half of the profits are shared, and the free units will go directly to places like that: Haiti, CO2 kits, medical kits, to purify the water, to apply to E. coli and things like that, which also boost the research. Somalia, we have a long list.
Great. Thank you, Sohail. Is there any other questions for Sohail?
Sohail, when do you expect us to see the first CO2 kits sent out?
Sent out. Today is 29. The first bulk to distributors, I guess not much. 4 or 5 days.
How are you doing it? You're sending everything to distributors or the ones who come through internet? How do we do those?
The single one which comes through the internet, we set up a software which is going to be distributed to the Keshe Foundation and distributors. So we can see in real time all the addresses and the details of the customers.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can send those things out directly. Our shipping department will do that automatically.
Okay, so with the health pads, when do you think we can market those out?
We can already start marketing those because they are mostly finished. You already have the magnets, the pads. I mean, the belts are right now been just some details been stitched, and the packaging has also been done at the same time.
When do you think the first one can go out?
The first one can go out around the 5th of February, the first bulk. We already have some.
Could we get some videos and pictures and whatever that we can put on the foundation website, both for CO2 and MAT?
Yeah,
then we take the old kits out and we can sort of, if you let us have it, then we give it to the webmasters.
I just like to make really professional pictures. Anything which is not professional, I will not post.
Yeah, if you let us have it at our links, and then we put the CO2, what do you call it? We put it on the website of the foundation, then they can go through there. There is something which I think needs to be clarified. Is when all these bags, especially the CO2 containers, carry the warning label not to touch the material and not to eat it. So that we stay legally correct internationally.
Understood.
Yeah, so we'll see what we can do. Anything else?
This is it so far. Everything goes well. If there's any questions, please contact me. And yeah.
Let's see.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for all your help.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
So now we hear, as we say, from the source.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's great to hear directly what's happening, and things will be available on time. So that's great news for a lot of people that are listening on live stream.
Are there any other questions?
I'm just wondering what the best address to use for people to contact if they have any questions or problems with their CO2 kits.
Just still go through the info@keshefoundation.com,
Okay.
because then we centralize it, whatever it is, it can be done, because there are a lot of things happening in next week, 2 weeks. Like as Sohail said, the unit should be ready next week. Then the university is coming in line, and the spin-offs are setting up. So we have gone in totally different, what do you call it, gear in respect to a lot of things, thanks to a lot of work from a lot of you around the world. One of the first materials which will be released will be the agriculture kits, and the water desalination and cleanup. We already have been approached by governments in the past week or so for cleaning up and desalination of the waters, inland waters. This will be done, and hopefully the Keshe Foundations around the world have to take this up with their appropriate governments, authorities, and what they can do and how they can do it. At the same time, hopefully next week or so, maybe later on this week, or it's now finished, maybe by early next week or 2 weeks, we will have some news from Tokyo in collaboration with the Japanese government. If they decide to release the information, because it's so sensitive, we might not get it. But on the other hand, it's quite possible that we have some good news to Fukushima in respect to the contamination. That's perfect.
Okay. And let me see, what do we have any other questions here on the live stream? I'm thinking there was a question earlier when we were talking about the caustic and so on. Someone suggested that it might be a good time to give information about alternate ways to create the nano-material coating without using caustic. Is there any input on that?
Yes, there are people on these chat rooms which are released this information, but they are not coming forward, and I asked that if they can discuss it.
For example, hydrogen peroxide was mentioned, and some people are experimenting a bit with that.
And some people are experimenting with a very low voltage, low current, medium voltage. You got to realize that in the human body, GaNs of the materials are not created through caustic, are created through the energy conversion in the plasmatic magnetic field. So if you can, I've seen a few microamps have been mentioned, and in my a few milliamps has been mentioned in some chat rooms, and I explained in there that in human body, the gases are made through with nano and micro watts, through the information received through the neurosystem. A lot of people have an idea that neurosystem are just for information transfer, but in fact, one of the major part of the work of the neurosystem, which is not understood, not add to the knowledge in the health side, most probably this way, is that the energy released, sent by the brain through the neurosystem, dictates the condition and the voltage the material needs to be created at in the part of the body. So neurosystem has a dual carriage purpose. One is sending the current, but that current creates, it's in a plasmatic condition, it creates and dictates a new environment for production of the entity, like a cell of a kidney or a cell of a heart. This is what never been understood by the world of medicine. And as you said, we add to it in this way, in adding to the knowledge, that the information transfer is not the only job of the neurosystem. Not only information is transferred for the movement, but the information transferred in a capacity of the plasmatic magnetic field strength for production or creation of the condition for production of the matter in a given position. That's how a cell knows, what do you call, lymph knows what is going to become. It just happened, as I explained when we were teaching before. A cell is created in a kidney in conjunction with the flow of the blood and flow of the neurosystem. And this is very, very vital, it's very important for the world of medicine to understand this. The information, the reproduction, comes through the neurosystem. And the environment which the neurosystem creates in a certain voltage, certain current, in the plasmatic magnetic field level, you see, let's say, cell of a kidney. If you keep the same nerve and change the information, you see the cell of the heart. The power which comes from the brain for it. This is another fallacy which they say a man only uses 5% of his brain, the rest is there, or 10% of his brain. The brain continuously is made part of its function, is production of release of a specific current magnetic gravitational field plasma flow for creating the environment for the lymph to change into a matter of given state. And it's so fine that it dictates everything. Because in a plasmatic information which comes from the brain is in an RNA state, very little. And by changing the RNA, then the DNA changes. And then the physicality, and it manifests itself. This is again, as I said, understanding the difference between the matter and a GANS and a plasmatic condition. The job of the blood cells is not just delivering oxygen. Each blood cell, as it goes through the vein, again, as we explained in the health side regarding the intestine, at a given point has a field which its energy transfers across to the cell which it has its gravitational magnetic field strength matching. The twinity is the essence of life. When they twin, they release energy to each other. And when the energy, when we talk about energy, is gravitational magnetic field level, plasmatic, when it changes, one is transferred to the other one, then there is a disconnection and the blood carries on flowing. And it needs a superconductivity to transfer such energy so instantaneously. We know the rate of the flow of the blood in the body of the man. So as it blows, as the heart pushes the blood constantly, the energy level of the given red blood cell matches only the gravitational magnetic field of a cell in a kidney. And when it passes at that point, it matches superconductivity, superconductivity condition, releases that, and as it goes, and it goes, and it comes back again and does the same. We have to understand the reality about the whole process of the creation. And then when you change a condition, you have a different cell. The same neural system you can keep in the same length and change the information, what I call energy transfer through the neural system, and you will see you start creating different material. There is no need for stem cells. Stem cells is job of the doctors, which okay, we needed it to understand the process, but now if the doctors create and scientists in the plasma condition create the gravitational magnetic fields, now that we can measure after, let's say, the cell of a organ in a given specific condition, the same nerve which is coming into it will be changed and that cell will be reduced. There is no need for even transplant. There will be no time for rejection. This is how the operation of the rebuilding of the organs in the space will be done. We have shown part of this work in the operation of the health side. This is in a way how we interfere with a lot of the disc damage. We create a condition that the neural information at a point of the damage just changes slightly to what it was supposed to be, and then the disc gets developed and the pain goes and people walk a normal life. This is the change. And up to now, we never explained how it works. Now that the development has reached this point, we explain further and further, because you see results, you understand. The whole process is understanding the flow and the rate of the flow. Then you can understand what you need to grow, where you need to grow. Then you understand how, for example, reptiles, when they lose their tail, they regrow it. Because all they do, they create gravitational magnetic field of the next cell in the growth process. So when it's achieved, there is the next one, because the field, the strength is slightly different, and it's part of their memory, so they can create their tail very rapidly. I was explaining to Armin and Marco last week in the lab. It will be very difficult, because then with a human being, with a combination of the bones and everything else, to inform all the cells at the same time. But in the coming time, it will be done. You don't need to worry about amputation. I'm very much looking forward for this collaboration with the Iranian scientists in development of the plasma in the health section. They have achieved certain levels of understanding in plasma technology and nanomaterials, and it's just a matter of putting in the nanomaterial in a given position, behaving like a matter GANs state, and converting it to the organ you need. This is what is coming up. By now we opening the university, the horizon of the science, the way will come out of the university, and the way you all stay open with what you discover and what you achieve has no more limits. We teach it freely. And one of the main point, which in so many ways we got to understand in totality, is who does what, where it happens, and the way it happens, and what conditions created. Then the rest is easy. We have used it, now we explain it. We don't talk about something which could happen. This is not a science fiction program. Now you understand the behavior of the CO2, how it's created, what its effects are, why the scientists have a problem in identifying between it and the others, and they want to stick to the old, because now they say we see it in magnetic field, we don't see the matter state, it's different. Now they understand it's the same thing in different condition. Then the new generation of scientists will develop their own ways and their own systems. And now we have given the ground for it to be openly taught and brought out. The very interesting position with the new science of plasma is not controlling it, but in understanding it. Because if you understand it, you don't need the system to control it. You give to it what it needs and it takes what it needs. It can be done with your emotion, it can be done with your soul. And then because it receives it, it will turn to what is supposed to be, what it needs to be, including your intention. This I have explained in a couple of times in the past. We have what do you call it, the girl with the harp, where she has in her own lifetime has extended her fingers to be able to satisfy the desire to be a harpist. And then she has changed the body to be able to support such a heavy material. There is no need for support, but physicality is so big that the body has to understand the intention of this is heavy, so I have to be big enough to control it, and fingers long enough, and she has changed in a matter of 5-10 years. So if we can do that ourselves, we can speed it up by intention and information we send to a certain cell to grow faster or more of this, because I want this. So you can even grow a tail if you like for yourself, because you have the extension of the tailbone. Would we make mistakes and create new creatures of ourselves with maybe 20 fingers and 10 meter long tail? Maybe we do, but would the environment allow us to do it? On planet Earth, at the moment it doesn't seem to be. Maybe when we have these intentions in space in different environmental conditions, we achieve it, because then we need it and the condition allows it. The time of what do you call it, as was in one of the very first reports of Professor in Belgium. In part of the reports is pseudoscience is not there anymore, because it's reality. You are handling it. 10 years ago it was hard to understand. Now it's because there and we see and receive activities of it. It's not the fantasy dream you all are making. Any questions? We are nearly 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on the meter detectors you're talking about for sensing the energy.
Yes.
This week I was actually thinking about it. You nano coat the electrodes and the wires going in, but you also need to, and don't you need to nano coat some of the internal structure? And then I was thinking maybe have a button on there with a little more code put into the system, so that when you're going around different areas, before you measure, you can hit the reset button so it zeroes out the fields at that moment, so you get a more of an accurate reading on the material you're measuring.
There, I'm going to go to a further step in what you brought up. One of the things which we are considering here in Italy, which becomes part of the spin-off, is instead of using neon lights, or what you call it, LED lights, we will be using guns as a tool of what do you call it, lighting up. So if you bring the information of gravitational magnetic field in a detector, which is connected to another point of demonstration or manifestation through a nanomaterial or nano-coated material, do you need to put it to an electronic system which we are used to? Or do we need to put different gases in that tube or in another nanotube that, like the GANs of the copper, it manifests itself in a digital form, in a form we understand. So you don't need to go through electronic system to convert it. You allow it by different colors of which get enlightened in the plasma, in the GANs. We know how to make a transparent plasma. We have seen it in some cases, some people have put it, because this is added to the knowledge in the past week or so, I've seen it, that when you put GANs in a CO2, in an acidic environment, in some cases it becomes transparent. And I explained this how it becomes transparent. Now, if you manage to change the, let's say, copper oxide or a CO2 to a transparent, no color, so if you keep an acidic environment magnetic field, so what energy comes only enlightens that matter, let's say with a figure 3 or 4 or whatever. The electronic system has gone out of the window. Because now, even you can go by color coding, this color means, okay, 3, this color means 4. So now you understand how the whole world of the communication measurement is about to change. I told you, when you come to it, we explain it. This is what I was explaining on the breakfast table yesterday to the scientists here in Italy. This is what is to come. This is what the part of the, I told you, spin-offs of the system development is. You still think in 2 ways. Think all the way through, the same level, and then you get enlightened, you see the reason, the way. Because then the information is instantaneous. You don't have a warm-up, you don't have a heating, you don't have a chip breaking down. You've seen the nano layers which Arman showed on the desk, in the half a sphere. You see 4 or 5 colors at the same time. When you have a transparent which has no color, it means this is the balance point, and then different colors comes up, you know this color immediately. If you want to change it to a detection system of matter level, this means this. And in time we learn the colors, we know roughly where we are, what temperature is what. I was explaining this to them in a very simple way. If you would have said to people, there is a traffic light on the street 100 years ago, and so what do you mean a traffic light? And then it has a red, amber and a green. Green is to go and the red to stop. Nobody could understand such a thing. Now all of us internationally have accepted red means to stop. In time we understand this color means this temperature or this speed. Do we need to translate into a digital number or to understand it in its original form? Then it becomes our second nature. This is part of the development. This is part of where we're going. When you talk about your doing system, you're still in the schizophrenic between the matter and the GANs. Go all the way in one go. You don't have, it's superconductivity. You will see changes, then you can detect it. I want to see only this color, which gives you a specific strength of the plasma. I want to see the color or the digit at orange, which gives me this is the time of the lift and this is the position of it. Then this way you have access to millions of colors, thousands of colors, which everyone means a position and destination in the universe. Then you work on a real 3-dimensional system in respect to a 3-dimensional universe, and then you don't need a GPS. The GPS is sitting in your system. Total cost less than $1.
So that's like you saying prior that using the light from the suns for measurement.
Yes. Yeah. So each color has a meaning of the strength. The way you see it, copper oxide is blue or greenish blue. We know this is copper oxide. We get a slightly different copper oxide color, different green. We know it's CH4. We get a slightly white in different cream of white. We know what is CO2, what is not, what is matter. This is the way you convert in a static system energies into matter. Because this is the energy, plasmatic gravitational magnetic field you need to be vitamin C. You extract it from the system and on the other end it drips out vitamin C strength, and you can drink it, you can eat it, you can energy absorb it, touch it, and you receive it. This is part of the teaching to open the horizon of the, what do you call it, the knowledge. This is how in the space you receive a combination of fields. As I said before, you don't receive cauliflower. You receive the taste of cauliflower because emotionally we create it in the field you receive, but you receive the energy of a cauliflower. Everything will be in a real dimension, not in the physicality dimension. It'll be in the plasmatic magnetic field. The structure is not to produce, go from plasma, go to GANs, go to matter, and then come back up. And this process is too long, and it uses too much, and too much is lost. And you only see at the lowest level, not at the highest level. And the lowest level is the vibration of electron. So what happens to the others on the top? Then this, as I said, we will make a new Mandela table, but in a way that everybody understands it, and it has thousands and millions of colors, not even the ones you've seen. You've seen the new colors on the books which we released. This is very interesting because, as I said, some people, I don't know if you heard it or not, there are so many colors that we are not aware of. Even the new, even carpets which are made handmade, some of them have 30,000-40,000 different colors, and we don't see it. We just look at it as just as a carpet. They spend time to create the color. Now those colors we have to learn. If man has so much colors on his what they call it, vocabulary of books of colors, God knows how much we need to learn more in the space and understand. As there used to be a joke, and it's not a joke in reality, in England you could get a first degree in the shades of color white. One of the universities years ago offered such a degree. So you can imagine how many colors are in the shade of white, that we call white, but they're not white, but just shade of it. Now put the other colors of the universe together. And now we do the new measurements that way. I see something Armand has put up. Armand, would you like to explain to us this material inside? I know what it is, but if you can explain, please.
Mr. Keshe, can you check your mic, please?
Yes.
Okay. We're getting some noise on it there.
Is it okay?
No,
No.
it's popping. It should be pulled away from your face a little bit, I think, or a little bit away from the mouth.
Okay, it's moved. Is it better?
I think that's better. Does that sound better, Vince?
I can barely hear you.
You can barely hear me. We're on a full volume. We haven't moved.
Okay,
Is
try
it better
again.
now?
Yes, I'd say so.
Okay,
Maybe.
no problem.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if Armin's able to speak there or not.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Thanks, Armin.
Yes, I am. And one more thing I want to add, about the white appearance under the dome. It is the way I observe it. I pull the hot water on top of a dome before I put it in the caustic. So that's why the upper part, you see, it was heated before the caustic hits the copper part.
And you put the dome in so it looks like a dome rather than a cup shape, right? It's the dome part on top.
The way it's been given a caustic bath, this is what I observed when I pulled the hot water before the dome. I flipped it on a caustic bath. So I think the dome was heated like in a high temperature of water, and the caustic hits. That's why it creates this white stuff.
It creates a new condition environment.
Yes.
That's what it's.
Yeah.
Okay, can you explain to us let me explain this green pot which Arman has. Do you want to show the video or the picture? You had a pot with a green GANs in it?
Yeah. Rick, can you show it?
In the live stream in a second here.
Yeah. Let me explain something very interesting. This is another, what I say, we add to knowledge of. To be able to make this GANs, it used to take me days and weeks. And I always thought, how can this be done? And Armand comes with says, give me a light. And within, less than 12 hours, he managed to dry the system. And I said, you're genius. It took me years to create, to find a way to dry the GANs in this state. And he's come up with a genius idea of a simple light bulb, and he dries them very fast.
Right, yeah, we were discussing this a bit last night in the plasma reactor group. And so the idea being you just have an ordinary light bulb and bring it close to the containers, the way I understand it, within a few centimeters. And presto, within about 12 hours, like you were mentioning, dried GANs. So is there anything you want to add about that, Armin?
No, it's simple as
How
it.
did you come up with this? It's a very simple solution, but it's very
how the heat evaporates water. So you bring the heat that is not going to burn the GANs. So you have to. Simple as this.
Okay, I've done this too, and what I found is that the cheesecloth or whatever you're using to extract the water out is the real magic behind that one, because extracting the water and drying it from the light is what creates it. So I put it into more of a gel state. And then I take it from the cloth and I put it onto a lid, and the lid dries it off, right? So
yeah, you don't need to put through the cloth. You just leave it. The water, it will settle down the GANs. Pour the water and put it under the light. You don't have to do anything.
Oh yes, okay, I understand.
It's the simple Armin method. It's always got to be. If it's not simple, then it shouldn't be done. That's great. Okay. Thanks for that, because a lot of people are wondering how they should dry the GANs, and there's questions too on how it might be used in how it might be tested with machines.
Use your hand to feel the heat. Then you can adjust which heat you want to put it. Don't put it too close, not to burn the GANs afterwards. If you forget to check on them. So
you mentioned putting it close enough that your hand would feel hot, but not too hot, basically, and not not.
And give it time, the water will evaporate.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Any question?
Yeah, that's a good question. Any questions?
Yeah, there is something you have to be aware of. I said it earlier on. I repeat it in a different form and shape. When you try to clean up this, or you try to crush it, or you try to store it, please be careful not to touch it, because even though it looks like solid, it carries the energy of a nuclear bomb, if I can put it that way. Even the powder of this material is highly energetic and is at the level of your amino acid. So if you touch it, you feel the energy through your body. Do not inhale it. Just if you dry it, keep very much distance from touching it or inhaling it. Because I notice you will feel like you had about 10 bottles of Coca-Cola sugar in one go injected. It's not like a drug, you feel energetic. It's a real energy absorption. And this can make problems. In time, we'll release the energy and what it is and the mass of it as we measure in the center. Somebody, let me read something. It's very interesting. It says this guy apparently doesn't know what we do. He says, Armand, do you have a patent on your couple reactor design? We don't patent anything in Keshe Foundation. It's a free knowledge.
They are selling in China now in $1,500, Mr. Keshe.
Pardon?
They are selling in China now $1,500 the star formation. The same reactors that we have. It's already in the internet.
Yeah, let it be. It's a free knowledge. We have no problem.
I have no problem.
Yeah, we freely done. They can sell what they like. Let me explain something which I had to explain to earlier on this week. There was a question on the table about, as this gentleman, whoever it is, Robert says, have you patent on your copper reactor design? The patent office, European patent office, world patent office, US American patent office, or any patent office, the way we are working and the way the knowledge is shared is obsolete as a center for control of information. The patent office will be that people submit all their discoveries to the office for it to be immediately available to everybody else. And if the patent office, the way it stays they are, there is no use for them because people now can make patent office on the internet, which means the center of the knowledge and what you think can be done. And then you can put, if you like to contribute something towards what you shared from their knowledge, you can what do you call it, donate or give to them. Then this way is all open and free. I reckon the patent office in the coming time will be obsolete because patents can only hold for 20 years. And in 20 years' time, as everything is put on the table freely the way we are doing and other people are doing it, then there is nothing to patent. The patent office systematically has become in past 2 or 3 years through our work a dead animal. It's just in its kicks.
We noticed, for example, with the Tesla car company, which is the top electric car company in the world, that they've just released all their patents to the public for the electric motors and charging systems and things like that, so that other competitors can actually pick up on it and get the whole movement going faster. And this has revolutionized. The owner, Elon Musk, he used to have all his patents up on the wall of their showroom in their head office, and he took all the patents down because now they're basically, those were the core of their company in a way, because that's your intellectual property. But he's giving that out with the hope that will spur on others to continue with certain standards within the industry, things that work already, all the knowledge that's already been put into it. So it will advance that particular knowledge, that realm.
I think one of the biggest major breakthroughs in the patent will come through the release of the technology through food and energy systems. Energy as a food energy, not energy as a energy production for movement. The openness has created a lot of new conditions, and getting forced the way the people forced knowledge to have a value. Now correctness has a value. We share freely, and we've done the same thing with Sohail. I gave all the technology, whatever needs to be done, and all the details as we did with everybody else. And Sohail came from China And then he donated 49% of the share of the company to the foundation. And then he goes back to humanity. The same thing sits here in Italian Keshe Foundation work with the new development. What comes, it goes back to you, to your nations. And so is there a need for patent and hiding?
Keshe, here's a question about that. What if, for example, a pharmaceutical company comes along and tries to patent some particular kind of GANs or some process to make GANs? Would that compromise things?
No, really, you cannot do, because
Okay.
cancer is a new material. And secondly, if they can do it, so somebody else can do it at home. The beauty of it is that everybody can replicate everything now at no cost.
And because it's already out in the public, then they shouldn't be able to patent that particular process, because once something's actually made public, you can't patent it. That's supposed to be the way it works, basically. So by you making things like this public, you in effect make it so the pharmaceutical companies can't get their fingers on it, in a way, literally.
I'm going to tell you something very nice. Tell the pharmaceutical companies to deliver a system for cancer on planet Zeus. They don't have such a system and they cannot deliver such a thing. If you have a cancer on planet Zeus, as I call it, you want to come back to Earth, or you do it yourself because you know how to do it.
Right.
You understand? Pharmaceuticals only worth what is on the what they call a greenback on this planet. Within the distance they can jump. Some of them can go on top of the Empire State and jump, but they still fall a long way down. This is what we are teaching. We are detached from the physicality of what these people want to do on this planet. The station is the travel. The station is to be in space, and the station is you cannot buy a patent right in space when you're dying millions and billions of kilometers away from this planet. You have the knowledge. This is one of the reasons that we looked at the structure. Very soon the pictures will be released. You will see we have received one of the most beautiful, what I call absolute virgin buildings for university application for the institute. And one of the things you will learn, we teach and will be taught internationally, worldwide, through the Keshe Foundation Space Institute, in conjunction with the university, is the first year, maybe even 2 years, you learn everything at the same time. It means when you come in, you are not a specialist in plasma. You're not a specialist in, I want to become a space doctor. I want to become an energy specialist. You have to learn everything, A to Z. And because the foundation is one, then you understand everything at the same time about everything. So in a space, you don't need for an electrical engineer to teach you how to make a system to detect something new, or if something breaks down. You don't need a doctor to be there to diagnose, because you understand the basic and the foundation. And this is what's going to be. The ones who come at the master level in April, they will come in because they are specialized. So we use those to transfer their speciality into the students in September. And at the moment, we see a limit of 250 for the, what do you call it, maximum, for the first year students. And we see a maximum limit of 100 masters, and we already know a large number of applications coming. If you want to apply, you can do, but then we see who we're going to accept, according to the speciality of the knowledge at this moment of time. So the next group of masters will be done in most probably September. So in your speciality, you understand, and then you teach totality to everyone at the same time. The structure of the building of the university is such that we can teach maximum 2 groups of 125, which gives us 250 limit, and then splitting it up that everybody goes to the lecture rooms of the special teachers. You have a session in the afternoon with the guy who understands gravity, understands the work of the foundation, plasmatic condition. And then you go to the medical side, like with Dr. Elia. Then you go to somebody like Professor Lutzi or other professors who are in brain surgeons or electronics. And the beauty of it is, this is something which we have agreed, there are no exams in the structure of the university. So you cannot fail. You take what you are interested in and you develop that side. And as I said, as your interest grows or you see something new, we don't pattern it. You get your own spin-off, and if you can develop it, we allow you to do it while you're a student. Even in the first 2 days you see something new. Or you come up with a new knowledge to the institute. Who am I to value you did not understand because you did not replicate what I did? Or who is a teacher or man who's this way? We take the pride, we take the separation of life of limiting intention and understanding away. So you still sit for an exam. The exam is for yourself to understand what you understood and what section you want to go. So you can never fail. This is a new way of thinking, a new way of structure. So you can never come and decide I want to do a space medicine, because when you come in and you see the whole lot, you're already a space medicine man, and you're an electronic man, and you're a energy system man or a woman. This pattern and teaching process, when it's broken down the way we have, I give the pattern office a life of 20 years because they will still have to make. You got to realize something, how pattern have been abused, and it's time for it to finish. And one of the best points about what do you call it? I see Armand says they are manufacturing the systems in China. You know the wipers of your cars. All the cars in the world, most of them used a wiper system to wipe the front screen from a guy who, after all the cars and the 20 years past, has not received his patent yet. Because all the car manufacturers and government pay the patent office, enforce the patent office not to patent it because we can't pay the guy. So who's right? The guy whose own system already used by millions and millions of cars, billions of cars, or the crookedness of the structure? So, has patent any value? Now, if you look at the new wipers on your cars, everybody's using it, because now you have 3-point pressure point. This was paid by, I think it's Toshiba or Mitsubishi. I think it's Mitsubishi, paid to a company in Belgium to develop a new wiper. They paid $100,000 for it, for them to develop it. They developed it and gave it back to Toshiba, to Mitsubishi. And now every car you buy, they use the design, because Mitsubishi came up with it and they designed it, because the old wipers had a lot of problem with it. And now Mitsubishi gets paid, I think it's something like 50 cents for every wiper as a license. But the guy whose patent, the first, and millions were sold, his patents were so much delayed, he spent all his wealth trying to get his patent right that he can get paid. Now he's an old man. So patent is access to crookedness for the control. Now there is no control. Just 1 second. 1 second, please. Sorry about this, we still have some, what do you call it? We are not in our right place. So now you understand how things can be done. It's the same thing with, what do you call it, the seed control, not only the pharmaceutical. The There is a paper, hopefully we will release this. It's just waiting for the guy to confirm it. What do you call it, the content. And that is in this video, in this paper which is released by the foundation. As I said to you, we have financed this some years ago with the independent scientist who very much I have a lot of respect for. He has shown how the wheat goes back to its origin as a grass on the when it's used on the ground. So all the genetic control has gone through the window. All the pressures of Monsanto is become to nothing, because this is already known, and the Chinese know, and the other ones who are testing it are knowing more and more. So all the forces of patents are irrelevant. Now they have to go and patent how they undo their own system. And now how can they control it? Because every man can do it in his kitchen. This is the beauty of the new development. We are not doing it, now you are doing it. Just get some seed from Monsanto. We are coming to a spring in the next couple of months in the northern hemisphere that you can grow seeds and use different duration. All the data is ready to be released by the foundation. So the whole process can be done by yourselves. You can do the whole reversal of Monsanto yourself. In the report, there is a time, how many minutes, what has been soaked, whatever. So it's just this paper would have been released this week or last week. We're waiting for the author of the report to make some adjustments or his correction the way he sees it, and then we do the touch-up, and as usual paper will be released. This is one of the scientific papers which will be released soon. We've done a lot of work in the past, now we start releasing it as papers and different things. The same thing is, as I said, with the reversal of chemotherapy, the damages of chemotherapy, which happens as a side effect. A video will be soon released by the doctors. We cannot patent anything anymore, because the patent is correct in the matter level. The patent does not stand because the GANS level is a new discovery and we have opened it. So they cannot patent the common knowledge. This is what happened when Derek Lorenz and me, we went to European patent. When we submitted the first patent, they told us you discovered something new and you cannot patent a natural process. So you have to write your patent difference. That's why there are two different patents for the first application. Because now Derek had to find a new way of defining the way they wanted us to do things. And now that we have opened it, you have the key. Anybody ever forces anyone that they have patented it, go into all the patents of the Keshe Foundation, somewhere you find out it's been mentioned. I thank Dirk for his absolute geniusness, the way he's written these patents. Even the patent office didn't realize what's going to happen to them. Those patents they have published have made the work of the patent office obsolete, because everything is there. How can they control what is public? One of the genius of human being, I call Dirk Lorenz, have written these patents, and a lot of thanks goes to him. In writing the way he's written the patents, he's given man the freedom of knowledge. And if I explain to you the way he came and we came across each other, we were introduced by the what we call the unknown son of the King of Belgium. And we paid a lot of patent offices a lot of money. Keshe Foundation paid $3,500 to a company in Belgium who controls 85% of the patents in Belgium and in Europe under different names, but it's the same company. We went to the son of the boss, and he said, okay, pay us €3,500, we start writing a patent. After 2-3 months, they said, sorry, we cannot find, because there's no explanation for this, how we can write such a patent. I says, can we have our money back? He says, no, we studied, we took our time, we can't pay you the money back. I said, okay, I'll learn about crookedness of the patent. Then by chance we came to IMAC, and in IMAC, in the process of explaining the gravity and gravitational point, this guy walking, he explained to me that 3 or 4 weeks ago we were saying somebody soon will discover the gravity. And he said, I support you to write the patent. And we explained the problem we had with this patent office in Belgium, that they took our money, but they said they can't write it. He said, I know one man who can write these patents, and there's only one man who can do it. And he brought the fluorescence on the table. And he's been the key to spread of the knowledge. With one man, without him knowing, he has literally undone the whole work of this patent business. And they told us how to write it. And then we left it free to everyone to use it. And he's a genius. He's absolutely a genius I ever known. I know 2, 3 geniuses, he's one of them. He knows how to translate my knowledge into a common language, man, that the man can use it freely. I know another genius the same way, is Elia. Dr. Elia is on the medical side, but she can translate the knowledge in a different way. But on the medical side. So, in fact, what came to us as a harm has came of a freedom for human being in not being able to control the knowledge. So, don't worry about the patents and don't worry about anything else. A patent to end the patent office. They already have ended. Any other question?
Well, what we're seeing.
Yes, Mr. Keshe.
Go ahead, Vince.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is from Michael. This is one of the people that we were asking to come on that sent his pictures on. So, Michael, could you talk a little bit about this? Because this looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Good morning, everybody. The design that you're looking at is basically, it's just a household fan that I've taken the face off of, and I glued a ping pong ball in the center, and then I took surgical tubing.
We don't see any design. It's not on the live stream.
Yeah, you probably have to refresh, Mr. Keshe.
Okay.
I had to refresh once before.
Let me know when you guys can see it.
Just wait, please, 1 second. Okay, now we see it.
Okay,
Carry on.
it is. I've got 3 rings on here. 2 of them are concentric. 1 of them is down a little bit further. I don't know that was going to do anything, but the idea that I've got is, if we are to be able to produce these circular tubes, okay, and if they're concentric, you can add GaNs to it, you know, CO2 on the outside, copper on the inside, another one, iron on the inside, to spin them and get a complete reaction as a full maggrav. Will the centrifugal force of the plasma push further out and combine all of the GaNs together if they are separated by these rings?
What effects do you see?
I have not been able to get any effects yet because I'm not confident enough in my GaNs creation. I'm waiting for the CO2 kits to arrive.
Let me ask you a question. If you had enough confidence and intelligence and knowledge to come up with this, why do you consider yourself not being intelligent enough to take it further and explain it? Who puts the limitation?
I am putting the limitation on myself because of the potential hazards and dangers of the GaNs.
Okay, if you have such a case, put it at a distance. Don't walk near it. Don't work near it.
Okay.
So put it at a distance and see the effect of it. One of the one of the best ways to see the effect of these kind of systems is to work in the dark.
Okay.
Very few people
So-
have been into my lab in Belgium. Caroline made everything dark. When I wanted to see something, I was working in a huge black dark room. You see a lot of new things when you work in this environment. You have come with a
Okay.
genius way of doing something. Don't extend the only limitation on your extension of knowledge and rest of us to learn from you is you in lack of confidence that you know something. You are as intelligent as anybody else. If you have come up with such a concept and you can show it, doesn't matter you don't see something, but it can enlighten somebody else to use it for another purpose.
Okay.
So explain to us more.
Thank you. All right. This the idea that I've got, it follows off of the Searle effect generator. Okay, and if you can go down to that drawing that you just had, Rick, with the big circle looks like a target in the middle.
Oh, you gotta go down. You're going up. Rick, go down. You're going up the other way. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, this is the delay, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, the Searle effect generator. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
No.
It uses neodymium magnets, and then it collects the electrons and speeds them through the central cores. Okay, and there are two separate cores that they have created, and they have roller magnets on the outside, a layer of copper, a dielectric of porcelain, and then a neodymium magnet again. All right, and then the magnets spin, they create the electrons, and it's got the free energy. It also creates lift if it's left unattended. And I was trying to use that concept of the rings and convert everything that they had in there with the neodymium, the copper, and the dielectric into GANs format and put them into these rings to make them the concentric rings. If it's done right and there's copper around the outside edge, the electrons should build up along the edge, and you should be able to collect the electrons there to create,
Can I just, as we say, break in, just to ask a question? This is genius. You had a knowledge and you extended to it. But there is something very interesting. Go back to your tubes. What I think will be correct to do, maybe you can test it. Use, for example, go back to the picture you showed us originally with a ball in the middle. Can we go back to that, please? Go up. Can we go up to it? Yeah, go back to the picture, not this one, the tube. Okay. Extend the knowledge in a different way. Okay, but this is a picture we're talking about with the ball. Extend the knowledge in a different way, or maybe test something further.
My inspiration was actually Saturn, if that makes anything with the rings. And
yes,
I eventually want to
see the rings. Now, let's add to the knowledge. You've seen how you created the energy. Let's do two things. Maybe I can explain to you what I think, and then it's up to you and the others to, if you want to expand it. You have put 3 tubes. One outside with different nanomaterial, which is the copper oxide, I presume. One center, which is a CO2, and the other one, which is most probably a CH3 or vice versa in reverse order.
Yes, sir.
This is what I call a schizophrenic condition. That's why you might not see and see some. First of all, with what you put in these tubes, you have already created unconditional, non-dimensional magnetic balls as neodymium they use in the magnets as balls or whatever, as rings. So you already have 3 nanomaterial layers, which is a real plasma, real magnetic field balls. Nano coat your plastics, which means just steam coat it with caustic and let it become nano coated, and you can test it if it's nano coated or not.
They're already in the caustics and they're done.
They're done. So if you use copper coated inside and copper non-coated outside, the way Armand did his core, then you get the transfer of energy between different layers, and you can pick up the energy in your copper coils externally.
Would it make a difference if I used a solid copper wire inside the tube with GaNs?
Maybe it's a solution, yeah. But if you can isolate it as a nano layer, so
Okay.
you will achieve lift through what you're expecting.
Awesome.
You will achieve lift much faster than they do, but you have to get it the right way. Because most of the magnetic gravitational fields you produce, when they are in a given direction, then they give you what you actually done. Let me explain to you. If, for example, you use copper and CO2 in the middle, you create a condition of the gravitational magnetic field at the same time, because you created the layering in a very simple formation. Then lift in this condition will be very much a simple way to do it. This technology has been used a long time ago in the space, but then it limits you to a condition of creation of the fields which is not controllable in an easy way. This is not something
Not control.
Yeah, you will achieve lift 100%, but then you have to understand how it works the way it does. The spherical, if you go back in the memory of man, in the human race, you used to see very much spherical spaceships, what do you call it? It was like an egg shape.
Okay.
They
Now
use initially these kind of technologies. But
We're just getting some breakup from you, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah. It's just the last sentence there.
I said you will achieve lift and you achieve
Lost you again.
Yeah, it's fading out on my end.
Yeah, we're having a hard time getting the words "you will achieve" lift out. We're kind of stuck there, aren't we? The secret of lift is... And furthermore, the secret of the universe is... So, we're very close
can you hear
to get...
me now?
Oh yes, but we missed all the secrets you just unveiled there.
I can hear you loud. I can hear. So now you see there are things above, which means you're not ready to receive the lot.
Now,
So no, what it is, this is this. Yeah, but depends which heaven.
And which way the door's open.
We have to. Yeah, be careful it doesn't step on your toe. I think we stepped on somebody's toe. That's
Yeah.
why you couldn't hear us.
Well, they better get safety boots because we're going to carry on.
all right, I
No,
have one
but-
more thing, Mr.
Okay, carry on.
Keshe.
Yeah, because I have to go back. Carry on. Explain.
Okay. One more thing. With this setup, with the concentric rings, Rick, if you could go down to the second drawing for me.
It'll come through in a second here.
Okay. I think it's the second drawing. Right. Yes, over to the right there. All right. Earlier you were talking about being able to identify information about the GANs or the magnetic field, things like that. If I was to put these concentric tubes together like that, is the plasma concentrated at the equator even though it's still spherical? And I know that it will create a plasma vortex in the center of the ring, but my question is will it expel stronger, I guess, or more concentrated towards the equator? And if so, can that be read like a CD player, except on the edge of a disc instead of the bottom of a disc?
It very depends on the ratio of the mass of the plasma GANs you used and what GANs you used. And in so many ways, if you are using a motor to operate, because the gravitational magnetic field of the magnets are totally irrelevant.
He said the.
Oh, we got some breaking up, Mr. Keshe again.
Create. The condition goes
The matter is
on how you
irrelevant.
position and what you have put as a content ratio in each tube. Because one tube can raise it up and the other one can raise it low. But can you hear me?
If I just put
somebody is
one,
downloading somewhere.
if I
Can you hear me? We are back on. We are back on again. Yeah, the gravitational magnetic field of the what do you call it? Of the ganses would not be affected by gravitational magnetic field or magnetic field which is created by the motor, or which creates a rotation. You have to, maybe as a suggestion point for you is, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come off the live stream because I think the live stream is causing the problem, but I will not be able to see the pictures. Is that okay? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can also try just pausing the live stream,
Okay,
Mr. Keshe. That works as well.
Right, that's
So
a
you
good
can still see the
suggestion.
picture.
Just pause it so you can still see the picture.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that wasn't such a good suggestion. Are you still there,
Got
Mr.
really
Keshe?
quiet.
I think it's that time of day when everything,
Yeah,
all
we're
the
pushing
internet
the
lights up
limits.
in every single area of Italy.
Yes, that's right.
Can we, are we better now? Can you hear us?
Yes, it seems
Yes.
better, much better.
Yes.
Okay. What it is as I explained, is the gravitational magnetic field of the motor, or the magnetic field from the motor, will not affect the gravitational magnetic field of your system. Should not do. The mass content of your GANs dictated, and then you have to consider mass ratio of the elements which you put in. And a suggestion will be, load up your inner tube with the same ratio. You know the ball, the golf ball? Load it up in the same ratio with all the three. And then you see the effect. You should be able to see 3 rings of light at the same time over your system if you get it the right way.
All right. Now, as far as reading the information, if I was to spin, let's say, one ring, okay, it will produce its own maggrav, and the faster you spin it, the more intense it would be, correct?
Depends on what central position you're holding. You see, one of the problems you have now is your ball is above the other three. You
Right.
have to lower the ball to be in the central line equator with the others. Now you're feeding the field flow in the center core in the ball through the bottom up. And this
Okay.
will not give you effect. So what you got to do, lower the ball to be on equator line with the others. Maybe you see different things. But the energy release will be the same too.
All right. Do they all spin the same direction? Or do I have to
Why
spin it
should they?
opposite?
You can do whatever you like. You can literally do whatever you like. Because if you get it
All
in
right.
a defense technology, let me explain to you, you brought this subject up, we carry on with your work because it's beautiful what you've done, but we add to knowledge as we go along. If you can get, for example, your CO2 GANs going different direction than your other two, you will see the rings with a different interaction and light strength. And this is part of the defense technology. In creating three
Okay.
layers, you create an unpenetrable at the, what you call position for interaction of cosmic dust, for example. Because when it goes one way, I've explained this in other teaching.
These are cosmic dust.
Cosmic dust.
Okay.
Rays are
Thank you.
nothing. Rays are very easy. It is the dust which is the problem.
Okay.
All right. Well, the concept that I had is if this ring is able to concentrate further out, then you might be able to get a plasmatic beam, so to speak, for let's say forward scanning of your spaceship while you're traveling in space. You know, to avoid collisions or to maybe even search a surface of a planet or something of that sort. And since plasma is light collects all of the information. The vortex in the center can be converted to receive all of that data back in there. And we've always considered information to be equal to more power. So the more information you need, the more power you need. Well, in this case, it isn't that. The light is the power, and the information just comes naturally. And so the central vortex should be able to, what's the word? Crap. Absorb all that information and then put it into something, or give it to us so we can visually see it in our minds or on a heads-up display, or whatever is necessary.
Can I explain something? The way you have laid out the rings and you show different ganses is in so many ways what I was just explaining earlier on in respect to the nano layers with Arman, the core. What we see there in layers on top of each other, you have forced it physically to show it. And it's very much representation of the other side in this way. But now you have opened a genius way of representing the knowledge, and then now we add to the knowledge. As I said, till you don't come to it, we don't add. When you come to it, we add.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Now listen to this. Maybe I can enlighten you a little bit more. If you can get the speed of rotation of the plasmas or gases in the rings to come to a point that in their motion they create what you've seen as a bubble in the other cores, and then you manage to rotate the ball in the same lower level as the same equator as the rings, and rotate them with the same, then you will see a beautiful effect.
Okay.
The effect is, let me explain to you, the effect is that the white ball you have in your hand, on the middle, sits in the center of a free plasma condition. And then you'll be enlightened. As I say, good morning. You will see things you will show us very soon.
Okay.
Because what you've done, you open what I call a plasma within a plasma with a matter barrier.
Which is the ball, the edge of the ping pong ball?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to, I think the revolution you need on both is about, as usual, 2,500 RPM. You have to make sure that your tube is fully nano-coated. You got to be able to create one and maybe two at the same time. I don't know how you're rotating your outer ring, but
It all spins together at the same time.
if you can separate the separate ball spinning than the outside, maybe try to see what happens. But you have to be able to create the free plasma condition, as we've seen with the transparent balls. And then you have to be able to create that free plasma condition just on the boundary of the two. Or maybe at the beginning you will see it growing from inside out. And then you create a different condition. And the only problem you might have is that work with this in a distant zone that you're not near to it. Secondly, be careful with your sealing.
My ceiling, okay.
Yeah. If you understand what I'm
It
talking
sounds
about.
like that's a problem that I would like to have.
As you know, when we did it the first time in Tehran, I was told, let it go through the ceiling. I said, ceiling, since the building belonged to us, you go through. So if you have no problem with the roof, try it, be careful with the ceiling. But
okay,
you have to
so
understand.
it'll go through my roof?
Good morning. But you have to understand what you're doing and you get it the right way. But with this process, you don't have much control because the condition is different. And secondly, what you see when you said when you're not in the beginning of your talk, you showed magnets used on either way. Those magnets limit the lift to levitation according to the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth and the iron which is inside the magnets. With this system, you have no limitation in the magnetic field strength because there you put a figure, that's a break-even point. This is why you reach levitation or lift as gravitational magnetic field system.
Okay.
With all the levitation systems, your lift is, sorry, let me finish this. Your lift is conditioned to gravitational magnetic field of the matter which is creating it. With a gas, you don't have that because as the strength increases, it goes more to the center of the plasma, and in a way you will understand in the future, all the plasma switch at the same time to the same strength. That's why when the man goes to space, doesn't disappear. He is still in the shape of a man, but in different strength of the magnetic field of the plasma of the GANs. So this is something you have to be careful with. Okay, carry on.
The is there a way I can verify the GANs that I have? Because the last thing I want to do is, get my family sick with radiation poisoning, or, maybe create a black hole.
GANs does not have a radiation poisoning.
Okay. That's comforting. Very comforting.
But this is my point of view. You have to confirm. But don't forget what our Chinese colleagues showed us a few weeks ago. They ran a motor and they went all the way up and they could measure a gamma ray upstairs. You understand?
Okay. Yes.
So
I
you
do
have a
understand that.
radiation according to the distance and what material you put in. The best thing is to have a radiation detector at the point of the
All right.
interaction where you stand. And then if it is there, you understand it. But you create different type of radiation in gravitational magnetic field strength. According to the plasma, you created a distance from it. So
Okay.
you have to understand
Now,
this.
There's a picture I put up there
if you're
now of Mike's showing the germination of seeds using GANs. And what is the recommendation now about that aspect, Mr. Keshe?
I don't see the picture.
Try refreshing your live stream. Yeah, you'll have to start and stop your live stream there again to see the picture, I guess. So maybe that's a problem right now. I could describe it as simple. Some cups with some growing soil with a couple of seeds in each cup and so on. And Mike could explain how he treated the seeds, but it gets back to the question. Would get back to what you said earlier today, Mr. Keshe, about reverting back to the wheat back to a grass, and how that might affect the DNA of the item being grown and so on. So we do have to be a bit careful that way. Is that correct?
Can you explain what you've done or what you're doing?
yes, sir. My wife and I have been working on different things, and one of her things is that she likes to grow. And I've been bragging about the CO2 and how it's natural fertilizer and don't need for chemicals and all that stuff. So she said, prove it. And so I bought these little condiment cups, and they have compressed sterile dirt that you add water to, and they swell up, okay? And instead of just using regular water, I took 35 milliliters of CO2 and added it to a quart jar of water, a mason jar, and then it was diluted in that, and then I dumped that into the bucket and it absorbed into the dirt, all right? I have not treated these seeds. I have not done anything with the seeds except for taking them out of the package and put them in the dirt with the water. I've created I call it the GAN state for germination by encompassing the seeds in their own plastic container, all right, almost like their own maggrav field, and then I put them inside another clear plastic container, which gives it basically a double greenhouse effect. Allows it to maintain the heat and have even germination. But we have several different types of plants that we just bought at the store tonight and seeds. And it took me about 2 hours to come up with about 173 of these cups planted, ready to go. And I have 4 boxes of greenhouse stuff waiting for them to germinate, probably within the next week or so.
Something which we noticed, what's that white thing in the middle of the black? Oh, yellowish. What do we see in the picture?
Yellowish those are banana seeds.
I didn't know bananas is so big. One of the things which we have seen, and it's good to maybe for you to test. Take a few of these seeds or the packages and grow them on a ground, on a free land.
Okay.
Do you understand? So you will see different performances from the seeds.
So
Just let them grow outside as natural, the way you do it. Where are you? Where are you calling or talking from?
From Texas in the United States.
So this should be easy for you to. The weather is good enough there to do this.
Yeah,
So
the weather is great here, but don't we have to germinate the seeds before we put them outside? Because we're expecting a cold snap here.
so whenever
You know,
you're ready from the beginning, as fast as you can, grow them. Apparently, what we've seen and what I've observed over past, now we're doing it for about 6-7 years now, different type of seed growth. When you grow them outside, because it's a natural condition environment, not confined the way you have it, what I call test tube babies, the way you have it, the seeds show to behave totally different. Even if when you use a big plant pots and then they're grown on the ground, you see totally different behavior from the plant.
so I don't even need these plastic containers.
No, you can grow it because this is what we did. But when the pictures are released in the coming time by the foundation regarding growing of the seeds, I remember, because I received hundreds of pictures regarding development summaries in the archive, the seeds which are on the ground become like a grass, behave that way.
Okay.
How and why it
so they
is done?
spread?
They spread, they just spread like a weed. That's why I say, Monsanto, good morning. Because when you grow them in a confinement of a box, the way you do, the field absorption by the GANs from the environment is different than reality of when it's on the ground, in a natural condition. We've seen it with the Chinese, the roots is totally different.
It grows out, not down.
No, it grows out to absorb the energy because the field, there are two possibilities. One is the field of the GANs which is affecting the root, or is it the field of the GANs on the top of the soil changes the environment that invites the root upwards? We are looking on the effect of the seed all the time as GANs on the seed. What about the environment which creates around it to gives that condition to it?
Okay.
You have to look at both sides. So you create the environment of GANs and you put it there, now it's in soil, you see it in a confined way. What you've done is unnatural because the energy flow, gravitational magnetic fluid flow through these containers is very much like a planet. It's rotating in. But when it's in a real condition in the ground, it has to interact with the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth. If you look at the SSI-1, we put it on the box that we only get that and we don't get the interaction from the field of the Earth. So test some in the open space and then picture them and then use this. That is the reality, what we're going to get. And then let's see what happens. And secondly, in test, we have seen single seeds do not really indicate the reality of the growth. So what you got to do, as in nature, you know, when you throw a seed randomly don't stay on their own. They stay near each other. So put a few seeds as a cluster and see how the outside one, how the inner one grow. I don't know, they do grow as the same.
Okay.
Yeah, this is.
They should grow independently and separately, right? Because they are absorbing the energy independently, not competing anymore.
Not necessarily. Right? They could be sharing. If you, I don't know if some people are still on they're on the line or they will listen to. A few years ago, I think 5 or 6 years ago, we did a 7-seed experiment in 7 countries around the world. And some of the people who used to be on Keshe Foundation volunteered to receive the seed. And what we did in that time, on the 21st of March, they all soaked the seed for 3 days, if I remember correctly, and then they planted it. And then on 21st of April, we send them, when we send the packages out, we send the 2 packages of seed, one to grow naturally and one to be soaked in the package of the CO2 first for 3 days and then planted on 21st of March. And then on 21st of April, 30 days later, the second sachet of the CO2 was supposed to be spread on the ground. That we
So 30 days later?
30 days later, because the seed growth is in so many ways in 30 days, then it goes in the environmental condition than the seed. So you can do some 30 days without because you have so many of them, you created so many sacks of them, keep them in another pot that are not near to the other one, and grow 30 days later to that batch, add CO2 to it and see how the difference comes and what it is. And hopefully in the coming weeks, the Keshe Foundation will have the facility in the university as a spin-off to test all the things you grow for evaluation and test trial. And we will not hopefully test anything on a mice or a rat to see what it is, but we measure the magrav of the material, or what do you call it, of the vegetation, to see if they fall within the gravitational magnetic field of the cells of the human being, that they can affect them.
There's some interesting experiments with an ant farm happening in China as well, I understand. Have you seen anything with that?
No.
Well, they have one of those ant farm containers, which is a sort of a tall, narrow clear plastic container. And there's special, instead of putting sand in, you put in this clear sort of jelly stuff that they use like sand and food at the same time. And then the folks there added some GANs to the ant farm. And apparently the ants love it. So that was the bottom line. They were playing with it and accumulating it and putting it with dead ants and so on.
Could we have a connection to see where it is, that we can follow it?
Yeah, we thought it'd be great to have a live, like a live stream happening with, or do a time-lapse video of the ant farm and see the progress and see what happens.
Could we talk to Lisa that we can bring them on the Chinese session?
That could be interesting too. I mean, this is Soleil and the folks there at KF
if we
China,
can get them on.
On the Chinese workshop. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, on the Chinese workshop, and we learn from them, because it's the first time it's tested on the live entities.
Yeah, we saw just a little taste of it on the Keshe Plasma Reactor group that I hold on Tuesday nights last night, and it was a big hit.
Could we see it?
I don't know if we could see it right now, if we can tee that up, but maybe. Is Soleil still?
It should be on the Plasma Reactor group. Should be on the Plasma Reactor group. You recorded that, did you not? I wasn't there. I had to work.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that part on it. I can check and see though. Hang on. I haven't looked at the recording yet.
Mr. Keshe, I have one more question regarding the rings with the plasma fields. If you rotate them and they're spinning at 2,500 RPMs or whatever, all right, and let's say you achieve the plasmatic field that you're seeking, okay? If you flip that ring over completely, will the plasma continue to go in the original direction? So therefore, it would be the opposite flow?
Go back to I think it's book number 1 or book 2. The direction of the flow of the plasma depends on the strength of the central core plasma or the distance from it.
Okay, I just needed to confirm it.
Yeah, because we've seen this originally in the gas field plasma reactors that we saw.
Okay. Well, the rings are just a different way. I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter if the position is the same. You just see what happens, because even though the distribution looks the same, might not necessarily be the same when you turn it, when you achieve rotation.
Okay.
It all
Well, I
depends
see
on.
the rings as being a way to experiment with different GANs. If you put a single GANs in each ring, and then you combine the rings, you can spin them and see what kind of reaction you have without actually combining the GANs.
Try. This is your
It's
baby.
just,
Let us know.
I see it as the same picture as doing the layer inside the ping pong ball, you know, but it's on a little bit bigger scale.
Can you explain to us the other things you are doing, the other pictures?
Pull up a picture and I'll talk about it.
I've
It's
got
controlled
a good one.
by Rick.
Your first picture there.
It's
Your first
controlled by.
picture there, Mike, could look good. Pardon me, Mr. Kesh. Sorry.
I said the pictures are controlled by Rick in Canada, not me here in Italy.
Yes, right. And we have a lag. We have a delay of about 30 seconds between trying to get between the picture being selected by me and it coming up on the live stream. So that's why it's slow sometimes. So there's a picture on the live stream there now that you can see of something I don't think I would want to eat.
Right
that's
here,
for sure.
It's quite literally pure copper and zinc. The copper is nano-coated wires. I put in a coil about the same diameter as the opening of the jar. So there's concentric coil all the way down to the bottom. That one is the positive charge, the big wire. The little wire is connected to pure zinc that I used. I melted out of pennies and I cleaned out all the copper and everything else in it. And then I put a nano-coated copper wire into it, put them in the center, put the zinc in the center of the coil, made sure that they didn't touch, and I ran a 6-volt battery to it with CO2 GANs inside of there. And this is what was created, was the copper GANs and the yellow GANs. I don't know what the yellow GANs is because it eventually turned all yellow and settled to the bottom. It produced a lot of GANs.
It's atomic copper.
I didn't hear that.
I said it's atomic copper.
I said Armand can explain this. Armand, because you've done this with the current flow. Can you explain what happens there, please?
Actually, we release the atom from inside out because you give the positive charge. So it's a little bit dangerous, as Mr. Keshe explained. So be careful with that.
The green one is dangerous?
Actually, no. The way, the process you're doing is dangerous.
I can't understand you. Sorry, Armin.
Let me explain it, Armand. Let me add to the knowledge. What has happened is that when you created the GANs, you release some energy. And when you add electric current to it, you further add an energy to that the ganses break away. So all the blue or yellow stuff you see is the nano layers which are separated and become a GANs. It's not a new material. Now what you've done, you have discharged all the nano layers on your copper coated material in a rapid way into the environment.
Not into the water?
Yes, now everything, what happened to produce a GANs, you put in a salt, copper oxide, it takes a long time, the energy has to be enough that one by one the GANs materials are separated from the plate and you collect copper oxide at the bottom. Yeah?
Right.
When you add the energy, the electric power to it or a current through it, you speed up this process in a very rapid way. So instead of taking, let's say, 3 months, you do it in 3 minutes. Because you disturb
This
the
went on for 2
magnetic field
hours.
flow balance. Yeah, you disturb the magnetic field balance between the layers, and that disturbance leads the freedom of the nanomaterial from the GANs to the environment of the water. What you've done in putting the copper, what do you call it, the zinc coated plate in, you have created a new environment, which the condition of the salt with the what do you call it, the nanomaterial of the copper, which is become a GANs, has absorbed the energy from the plate and leads to the production of the new GANs, which shows itself in that color. So
Okay.
now, for us is to understand what this color represents in a plasmatic molecular strength.
Okay.
And this is what
Well,
in the coming time we can test it very soon, and you can send things to the center, and we are opening a spin-off especially for this job.
okay.
So
Well,
we can
one of the notes that I have of this is that the copper turned like pink, almost. I think it's just the raw copper, and the zinc collected all of the appears. I think it was the copper oxide, because the entire mass of zinc was black.
no. Let me explain to you something else. You have no process of electron transformation or vibration in this process. What you have done in this process, you have managed to release the zinc atoms in a way that they become nanoelectrically connected, nanoplasmatic gravitational magnetic field connected. So you don't have a copper oxide on it. It's the zinc which has become nano-layered itself up.
So that's extra power.
You have created a condition that because of the power, I told you earlier on, I seen this on one of the links somewhere, and I explained this, that in the body of man, we don't have a caustic to create nano layers, or what do you call it, GANs of the matter. The nano layers
We
in
just
the
have our
body of
electrical
the
current.
man, it's done. Your current has created this option. The current through the plate has created a condition, very much what I explained earlier on, that is equal to the caustic heat at condition of gravitational magnetic field, that the zinc itself has released its atomic structure and automatically has become nano-layered. And then that has led to the other thing. So in fact, maybe what is happening, you got a yellow in your container, now can be explained in a totally different way. That now we can know what the essence of this. This is a copper zinc, copper oxide, zinc oxide, what do you call it, GANs. Because what's happened, what has happened is that you have nano layered your zinc, and because of the current flow, you have immediately released some of it, and because the copper and the zinc are both in a plasmatic condition, they have found how to measure added to the mass. So the yellow could be, because you said everything became yellow at the end and it sank to the bottom, yellow could be, if we have a magnetic field measurement, when we do a Raman spectroscopy on it, we will see the property of the copper and zinc in GANs. We've seen this with the materials we submitted to the Ghent University, and we have some of the graphs. And then when we measured it, what it came at the bottom of it, it tells you what material is. It says something, I can't remember, 14 or 22 composition of materials will show such effect. Some of them were known materials, some of our fantasy materials, which we haven't reached yet. So what you see, and if everything has become yellow and you already had a blue in, which is a copper oxide, it means the nano layers not only has been released from the copper coated, you have zinc coated the zinc with nano layer, and automatically, because of the salt content in the jar, you have released it. And because the two, the copper oxide and the zinc nano layer, have become in a plasma condition, and the current flow you created have added to the mass of one. So this yellow material is a copper and zinc GaNs, possibly with a condition of O2 because of the water inside it. So it's something that could be like what we've seen, Cu, zinc, O2 or O3.
Okay. So in a position, Rick, if you could go down to the jar that's got the 3 listed on it, dark colored GaNs. What I did there is just
He's on the
this,
ants. Just wait. He's showing the ants. Rick, can you hold the ants? Then we go to it afterwards, please.
Okay, the yellow and the green, or the bluish green one that you saw, all right, turned into later, okay, after an hour or so, something in my head told me to add these little tin pieces that I had, little round ones, and it turned to a brownish red almost, and it was very thick. It created a lot of it, and you can, when I pulled the tin and all the materials out, you could see the atoms pulled off of the copper and everything, but I could see it looked like it was dragging across the surface of the little tin plates where the atoms were being stripped off because the edges were extremely sharp.
I can't see anything at the moment on the live stream.
You can see on the live stream now, the ants are playing around in the ant thing.
We go to the ants. Rick, can you stop? Because let's finish with this, please, if it's possible.
Finish with Mike, you mean, or?
Yeah. Because it's important what we're discussing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we should finish with that, and we probably should think about endings over 3.5 hours now.
Yeah. But let's finish with one, and then we go to the other one.
Absolutely.
Carry on, Brian. Can we see the videos of or pictures of the Brian? You see, when you just
of the brine. Also, I say brine.
Yeah, he added tin to the solution, and he got
Go
a
down
different
to
color.
It's the jar with that's got the 3. It says copper, zinc, and tin.
Yeah, the picture won't show because it's in my. Okay, now it's okay. It's in my email, and it's hard to show properly. Okay.
You see, with adding tin in it, you most probably, let me explain. With adding tin in it, you most probably have created a new condition, which the same process has happened with the tin. Now the new material is a gravitational magnetic field of the copper, zinc, and the tin. This is what I said at the beginning, with the color of the GaNs, and with the colors we see around the plasma, we understand which environment we have created and what we have created.
Okay.
This goes back to what I've said for a long time. Once I produce the GaNs, what color would you like it in? What to the taste you like? You would like it to be a banana, or would you like it to be beef? Now you're showing it. You understand?
All right. Yes,
but
I do, actually.
In essence, they all carry gravitational magnetic field as a digestible level to the not only for the human race, but to any race in the space, because each one of those dots which you might see is one star on its own, and it has enough energy to release what you want from it. It's
Okay.
beautiful
The
what you've
picture
shown.
that's on the screen now is just
Yeah.
copper and copper.
And what? Hello?
I'm not sure.
Down in that
I
light
don't know
yellow,
what.
and then eventually turned into a dark yellow.
I'm not sure
No,
which
can you
picture.
go back again?
Go back to where? Which one? The gray one,
To the
the
brown.
green one,
No.
and the brown one.
The green one, the bluish one, whatever it was on the top. Yeah, this one, yeah. Can you explain what was this?
It's that yellow jar that you just saw down at the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's on top of that. And that was the first 2 minutes of putting the 6 volts onto it. And that's what was
It's getting disconnected.
created.
Yeah, sorry, Mike, we can't hear you there.
It created this.
Can't hear the last couple of sentences.
I think Monsanto has got him.
Monsanto got your tongue?
You need me to repeat that?
Yes.
We couldn't hear you. Yeah, can you repeat it, please?
Okay. The stuff that you see on the top, okay, is from this jar that you're seeing on the screen now. It turned around, and after about 2 minutes or so, the dark gray GANs created on the top, and then it filled in from right underneath the surface of the GANs down to the bottom of the jar. It filled in with this light yellow GANs or material, and then eventually it got thicker and thicker, and then the top layer went away.
So what kind of material are you using?
That's just nano-coated copper wires in there, the 2 thin wires. That's it.
And the solution? Salt solution?
It's just CO2 and salt water.
CO2. You just add GANs in there.
That's it. I can't hear anybody.
I said we still see some yellow material on the top fat layer. Hello?
I can hear something.
Are we still on the planet?
I can
Or
hear
have we
you.
moved on? Rick, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yep, and I can hear you guys. I'm just trying
I'm here.
What do...
I think it's something to do with Brian's line.
Yeah,
Brian, can you
breaking
hear
up.
us? Hello?
Robert. Robert?
Who is it, Robert or Brian?
Are you talking about Michael?
Mike is his name, actually.
It's the guy. Can you please keep in touch and show us the development of the seeds and materials you try?
Yes,
and
I will.
Any materials you make, just keep them separate. And in the next 2 weeks, once we set up the spin-off in the university, we'll ask world population in whatever you grow, send to us as much as we can analyze to literally make the what we call the color coding for the materials in the GANs state. It will help us quite a lot.
Okay, so you need a list of every of the conditions that I used, like the copper
conditions you
wires.
show us, yeah, then we can follow it, because we look at the plasma, and then maybe you can join us as a teaching and teach how it is, because it's the knowledge you bring in. You can teach it because you understand what you've done.
All right. Well, I would like that very much.
Thank you very much indeed for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you guys for all of your time. I know I took a lot, and I appreciate it very much. So
you're welcome.
Have a good night.
Let us know what happens with your seed.
Oh, I will. I've been in contact with Rich.
Open on the on the section when they do different chats on the Skype, the seed growth with your name on it, that we can come onto it. You can keep on adding and we just watch.
Okay, I will do
Yep.
that, and I'll get the specifics from Rick. Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you indeed for
Thank you.
sharing the knowledge. Thank you. Can we see the ant? Can somebody? Can you, Rick? Can you send me this link or whatever it is on my email that I can see?
Sure.
I don't see the ants. I'm going to refresh my thingy. Just for a second, please.
Yeah, Rick, just check the size of the video you're showing because it seems like it's
very grainy, you were going to say?
Bluish, very big.
What's
well,
zoomed
that's the way it is. I think is I'm already at the best.
Or you had zoomed in.
The best quality, and it's
okay,
full
sure.
screen.
Can you repeat it again? Can you
sure.
repeat it the first time we see it?
Yeah. Okay, it's showing it there. Refresh your live stream. It should be on the live stream.
Yeah,
refresh the live stream.
Yeah.
Refresh the live
so
stream.
So can you explain to us what happened?
Okay, there's those containers. There's some GANs in there. You can see now that there's a bunch of ants around. I think there's a dead ant or something he mentioned. And they've got all the GANs, and they're sort of playing with it and interacting with it and building it up or something there. I'm not clear on what they're actually doing, but you can see a couple of them now. One of them's kind of trying to clean his antennas. I don't maybe got GANs on his antenna or something there. Maybe he's receiving a bit too much right now. Too much information. Too much information. Bail out.
So much energy. We got to see if they change their DNA. But are they eating it, or do they prefer to eat it?
Well, I'm not clear on that. I think that they were sort of using it like they would with ant food, where they put it next to the dead ants or something,
and
as their food supply.
I think we got to get the Chinese on and explain to us.
Well, this would be a great one for the Chinese workshop as well, I think.
Yeah, we need this to come in and see where we go.
Yeah, it's quite exciting. We could have a weekly series on just the ants, I think.
If you send me the link here, I know a guy who's done his research on ants and ant colonies. So we'll see. This will be very nice. But in the laboratory of the university, we are allocating a special section for this kind of research. So anybody comes up with anything new, we are open to it. It's a, what do you call it? I was explaining, is a wild west at the moment with technology, with the GANs technology. We'll see what we get.
Okay, I think we should probably end it for today, Mr. Keshe, unless you have some other announcements to make.
No, I think
you probably had enough.
We learned a lot.
Yes,
it's
was
very
great.
nice. It's very nice that it's not us teaching anymore. They come and teach all of us.
That's
Now more
right.
and more people are doing it,
Yeah.
and it's just part of the parameters that I think we managed to get to masses.
Yeah.
And you see how people are thinking their way of education and their understanding, and no one is wrong. It's just understanding how they've done it.
Right. Everybody does have their own way, it seems. I mean, it seems like there's only so many things you can do with the ping pong ball, but it's not true. There's probably millions of manifestations of just a ping pong ball reactor.
I think
And we
what
haven't even
happened.
started, really.
I think what happened with us showing such elaborate systems, even with the new one which Armin and Marco are putting together and be testing, we work on the whatever we like to call it, scientific way. But with you bringing the ping pong ball, it brought to the level what we said that every man can do. And it brought it down to the ground, that there is no limitation in understanding, and it's so simple. That ping pong ball is like what I call the wheel in the world of development of man's in culture. As they say, the wheel was the biggest invention ever for the man. And I think this ping pong ball is the second to it. Because it's made it so simple that anybody can make a wheel, anybody can make a, what do you call it, use a ping pong ball to create plasma and energy. This was a fantastic idea.
We've got one now with the septaseal in it, so you can actually inject gases or nanoparticles and so on inside the ping pong ball. So it's becoming more sophisticated as we go along. Anyway.
Could we have some of these seals, please?
Yes, definitely. I'll send some.
We need. Yeah, send them to the. Don't send any more to the Desensano or to the. Nothing should be sent to the.
Right.
The PO box in Desensano till we announce the position in the university. Deliver everything to the university directly.
Okay,
I will make a section for this.
I'll check with Armin on that. It's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you very much for today, and thank you very much for sharing knowledge.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, bye for now.
Rick, we are going straight away to another Skype call with the team.
Right, yes.
Yeah, okay.
We'll get that going. I'm waiting for a Skype call with you because it's important. Can we first talk?
Woohoo, you want to talk to me? With me?
Yes.
Okay, how about we have a 5 or 10 minute break and then we'll have the main call and you guys can talk in the meantime.
I am on a SSI unit, not on the Keshe Foundation, yeah?
Okay, well, I'll end the live stream here anyways, so. And so ends the 47th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Thank you everybody for attending.